everybody? May the 4th be with you. How's everybody doing? We are woke and weird, and we have a very special episode today. It is the Star Wars special. It's something we've been alluding to for a long time. We're all extremely excited for it. We are joined by our special guest and our favorite guest of all, Joseph Kellogg.
Woo!
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm very special, and I feel I knew that I was being alluded to for something in the last little bit, but I just didn't know that it was this, and I'm just so tickled to be here for this. You know?
That's great. It's great news. And I'm joined by all of my favorite stepbrothers. We have our producer Tim over down here. How you doing, buddy?
This is the way.
It is the way. We have Triminal. How you doing, Trim?
I'm good, thank you.
I didn't know how else to spice it up. I just say Trimmy every time. We have Trimmy here. And then we have our boy Jake with the hottest hot takes of all. How you doing?
Good. I have a lot of opinions.
Good. We know this. We know this, and we are
It's going to be a long one.
We have Reverse Grandma. How you doing?
All my accounts are dead.
What? All my friends are dead.
Yeah.
That
That
song's
song's a bop, by the way.
It is kind of a bop.
It's
You're
a
not
bop.
wrong about that. And we have the ever-present Kade 49. How you doing?
Kade 49.
Kade 49.
There's a runner 20 in there somewhere, but
No, I'm pretty sure it's Kade 49.
I don't know, man. He kind of looks like the baby.
the baby. Can we talk about why the fuck that guy is getting memed so hard? What is going on? I missed something.
No, we gotta stay on target.
Oh, that's right, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is the baby in Star Wars?
we'll tie him in somewhere.
Okay, all right.
He's on Exegol.
So is Lil Nas X.
I could totally see the baby being like an apprentice to Palpatine. 100%, I could see that.
Yeah.
with two enormous blasters instead of blast. Hell yeah.
Like when he's electrocuting fucking Rey, you just see the baby in the corner. Let's go.
I love it. I love this. Anyways, yeah, it's Star Wars Day. We have a really fun episode. We've been looking forward to this for a really long time. So essentially how this is going to go is we're going to do a breakdown of each episode 1 through 9. We're going in numerical order and technically chronological order. And we're just going to give our thoughts on each installment of the series, what it means to us, what we hate, what we like, and memes. Because everybody loves fucking memes. And there's shit tons of memes in both the prequel trilogy and what do you call the third trilogy? The Skywalker's
Sequel trilogy.
the sequel trilogy. I hate that term. That is so stupid.
Makes
Pre-sequel.
This is the
it's
way.
not original.
The pre-sequels. But yeah, but just for an icebreaker, guys, and it is Star Wars Day, and I need to know. I feel like I know a lot of these answers, but I need to know what color lightsaber for all of you.
Ooh.
Green.
Green.
Yeah.
All right, Joe goes. All right, we're starting with green. Trimmy.
Mine would either be blue or yellow.
Good choices. Good choices. Kemper.
I mean, it's red, you know. Like,
My
come
dude, I know.
It's
I
red.
knew.
Yo, Sith.
How are you,
All
kid?
the way, baby.
I want mine dark saber colored.
Oh, the black saber. That's
Yeah.
good. Good choice. Good choice. Black crystal. How about you, Jake?
I'm a purple guy. Just swag, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Fucker.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. The only dude with a fucking purple lightsaber, Samuel. It makes sense. All right, Tim.
Lightsaber.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
I would say blue.
Blue? Classic. You can't beat the classics, really. You can't. And I am with Kemper. I would be fucking red all the way.
Yep.
You know your fucking firebender ass friend is a Sith. You know it.
It would be intimidating as hell to be like in a dark room and then the red lightsaber lights up. It just has that red hue on your face.
Cool as fuck. Fuck,
Dude.
what?
Oh, Joe, do it. Do it
What's
up.
Joe doing?
Do it up, Joe.
Hold on. I'm setting the scene here.
Uh-oh.
I like this. I like where this is going, and I know where it's going.
Tune into YouTube to see what Joe is doing.
All right. Okay.
He's getting
Yeah.
He's now in
That's-
the closet.
What if he just starts trying on clothes? He's like,
Just scripts.
How does this look on me, guys?
Is that
Shit.
Shat? Oh no, that's
that-
Shat.
But Kate, great point about the red lightsaber and
Joe is definitely setting the
It's
scene
all
right now.
up.
oh shit.
There we go.
He's a man of quality.
Like, all of it went out.
It's all fucked up.
Did you smack that against a wall? Be honest. he definitely smacked that against the wall for sure. Or another Force FX lightsaber, because that is definitely a thing that people do. Can confirm.
Especially if you have two of them.
Oh yeah, do you still have the green Luke one?
Yeah, but that so actually, wow. Well, we're showing each other. Well, we're showing.
Oh shit! I've made a huge mistake.
This is on me. I mentioned that it was cool to have like the hue of the lightsaber on your face. Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah.
That looks
Oh
cool.
yeah. That's his
That
Luke saber.
actually
Yep.
looks pretty sick.
Yeah.
But the sound on it doesn't work, unfortunately. Now.
All right. I'm gonna show you how much of a basic bitch I am right now.
God damn it.
Now we're showing each other lightsabers.
No. This isn't gonna take that long. Look at this shit.
Oh.
Hey,
Wow.
Brent, hey, Brent's a little short on you.
I know. I'm a grower, not a shower. It is. It's a Shoto saber, and it's actually Qui-Gon's handle. For those of you Star Wars fans out there.
Nice.
Oh damn it! I tripped over my.
But those boys are like Walmart exclusive sabers, and like they're super thick, and like they're massive chodes, and you can just whack the shit out of things with them in the dope ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? No, Joe. Let's. All right. All right. So now that we broke the ice, we know what everyone's saber color is. Yeah. Do we just want to get started?
Yep.
Episode 1. We just going straight
Episode
in?
1.
The Phantom Menace. What do we think about this, guys?
Hot
Oh,
take,
Menace.
best Star Wars movie in the entire
Holy
series.
cow.
Out of all the movies?
You all know that Darth Maul is
Yeah.
fucking sick. And
He
that last
makes the
lightsaber
movie.
battle is pretty cool. And I like it.
Yeah, I won't lie. Darth Maul makes that movie for me. Like 100% makes that movie.
Yeah.
Him and Qui-Gon both.
Hell yeah.
I'd like to appreciate young Anakin. I cannot tell you how many times Jake and I have laughed over me just imitating young Anakin.
It's working.
He provides some excellent memes, but I feel like in terms of, and I feel bad because this guy's never gonna act again in his fucking life. But in
Yeah.
terms
It's
of the
so
amount
terrible.
of screen time per like absolutely just awful acting performances, I feel like maybe like out of any of the actors of the entire series, he might, and he's like a fucking child, but you know,
Yeah.
we're talking about it, so.
But I think it's more George Lucas's shitty direction with a
Yeah.
kid. Like, I have
A
to
lot of it,
imagine this
yeah.
dude is like a robot brain talking to a 5-year-old that's looking at a green screen.
Right.
And it's like, all right, you're in a pod racer in Naboo. And all the shit. Like,
You know, Natalie Portman was pretty bad in the first
Yeah.
one as well.
and she's a great actress.
Yeah. And she was good in 2 and 3, but it was just that first one. She was just.
She was fresh off Leon the Professional, so like she had her chops, but yeah, that's just kind of a shitty situation for all of the actors, I guess.
Yeah.
Padme.
Also, a total pedophile.
Padme.
You know,
What a fucking smoke show Padme is. But we'll get into that later.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Now
yeah.
this is pod racing.
Now this is pod racing. So I think that there is a lot of merit in one particular aspect in the Phantom Menace, and that is the introduction of a really important character that's like integral to the series, Jar Jar Binks.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Sith Lord.
Jar Jar,
easily the most impactful character in Star Wars. I think that's pretty undisputable.
I think
He is. He made the final. He was the final vote. Oh, that sours me so bad.
He was actually, I think he looks a lot like it. So I think he was kind of a precursor to Da Baby.
Now that's an interesting theory.
Jar Jar Baby.
How did we get here? How did we fucking get
I
here?
could see Jar Jar Binks dropping a couple songs.
Dropping some
could.
hot bars.
I could 100% see that.
Let's Misa go.
Smoking some death sticks.
Yo, do you know, dude, the fat Gungan would be his hype man.
Get on with your panties.
Yes. Underwater bitches.
Yeah, the Gungan twins, like instead of the Yin Yang.
Okay.
Drop a da bass.
I think we're onto something here, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I think we might be onto something.
I do want to bring up. I do want to bring up one thing. So I saw a thing the other day where, so remember when Qui-Gon and Anakin were leaving Tatooine, and then they get in that wall with Darth Maul, like before they leave.
Yeah,
dude. So Darth Maul shows up out of nowhere, right? And obviously Anakin isn't like the status he became to be. He's just this little fucking kid, and are we just gonna ignore the fact that Darth Maul just tried to run over some like little ass kid before getting to Qui-Gon?
He rolled up with all the smoke.
Yeah.
Anakin drop, and literally a second afterwards, he just zooms right over him. Like,
imagine
what
if he
the
just
hell?
fucking bonked Anakin, and then was just like ready to fight. Like,
just killed the shit out of him.
Darth Maul was not getting paid to be a babysitter. Bonuses from CPS. You know what I mean? He's what? Who does he fucking care if he runs over 8? For all we know, he ran over 30 kids on his way through Mos Eisley.
He could have.
Yeah.
I mean,
if anything, he slaughtered like a bunch of younglings.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe there was just like some sand people children that were just out and about, and he's just fucking decking, just decking them. Speaking of that scene, Kate, I'm glad you thought of that. Does anyone remember how fucking goofy Maul's speeder is on Tatooine?
Yeah.
It's like a fucking U, and he sits like this. It looks hella uncomfortable.
Dude,
But it made a really cool toy.
Yeah.
And
It made a really sick sound.
his fucking spaceship is
It's
maybe
sick.
one of the most underappreciated spaceships in Star Wars. I think it's fucking really
On an actual like serious note, all of the production design and like everything visually is like really impressive in Phantom.
Yeah.
It still stands up today.
For the time, yeah. It was
That's
90.
like
It was
one of the
90.
prestige
99.
movies
99. Yep.
with
Yep.
like Titanic and
yeah.
I always thought the Naboo like royal ship was always really striking because it was like that chrome silver in space.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a really visually striking ship.
I think the other thing that is really cool that like obviously I think maybe I'm not alone saying that the original trilogy is probably my favorite trilogy still, but I think the really cool thing that the prequels started that was able, fortunately, to continue into the sequels and into the rest of the Star Wars universe, honestly, was like this kind of like branching out and like seeing all these different like races and stuff and seeing, you know, not just like sand planet, snow planet, forest planet, Death Star. Like it was like a whole bunch of different scenes and sets and you know, there's a lot to bring on for them.
Yeah. Naboo is really cool.
I think this movie just brings out the world of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
so much of like the acting really sold it, but it was just the world building plus Darth Maul kind of sold it.
And
Yeah.
I think that the bad acting is really George Lucas's bad writing.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like if you look at some of the footage of like him making the Phantom Menace, like everyone is just sweating George Lucas's nuts so hard from the first trilogy that no one's like, hey George, you know, people don't really talk like this. You know.
Supposedly, and I feel like maybe Kade or someone told me about this before, but supposedly his wife like had a lot of say in the writing before, and apparently they got divorced sometime between the two, and so there was this whole big thing about that where supposedly, you know, because not that, you know, the character development could have been better in the prequel trilogy, and so there's this wonder that been had she been a part.
Yeah. I think it goes without saying though that Ewan McGregor was the best cast for that, right?
Yeah.
Are we right?
Actor.
Yeah, phenomenal actor, fucking amazing Obi-Wan.
Or Samuel L. motherfucking Jedi.
Okay, all right, that's number 2. He's number 2. He's easily number 2.
He's a very
Easily.
cool side character.
Yes,
that,
he is.
like keeps getting more as the trilogy progresses.
Mhm.
He's got a cool lightsaber. You know, he stops the lightning.
Yep.
Yeah, he does do that. The lightning. Just-
No.
I always love it. That's
We'll
how they
get to
block like the super powerful force lightning. They just go and just hold it in front of them. You know, that's probably pretty effective, right?
Like, I
That's
never
massive.
think to just swipe it down to the ankle.
Yeah, I know.
But
At least Mace Windu fucking pushed it back at him. That was kind of
Yeah,
about
if you
the
want
only
like,
thing.
this, it'll just shoot right at you. It doesn't bounce off. When he's it's actually going back at him. It's like deflecting it back at him. So it
Right.
goes. It's so if you went like this, it would just zap you.
And that's why he looks like burnt popcorn.
Yeah.
Yep.
You gotta love Palpatine.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of the pod race. The fucking pod race is pretty sick.
Now this
Pretty
is
sick.
pod
It's nothing
racing.
special.
Even though it's
pod
like
race
it's just a series of it's just a series of like scenic shots. Yeah, it's like NASCAR. It's like watching NASCAR almost.
Yeah,
but
people
more
trying
cinematic.
to like, just panning
left
left
to
to
right
right.
hands and
Yeah,
nothing else.
but it's
It's great.
still pretty fucking cool.
It's
like,
sick.
It's a
It's fucking
ship
sick.
going through a giant crater and going over shit.
Mhm.
Like, in terms of things from that movie that hold up today, 100% sound effects in that
Yep.
scene, like all the different engine noises and the way that
Yeah.
like fucking
Oh no.
Yeah.
Sebulba, classic bad guy.
Don't even get me started on Sepulba, dude. I talked about Jar Jar being the most influential character. Sebulba, that man, that alien man with feet
Doug.
hands,
Doug.
is the real culprit of the fucking Empire. I've had that theory since day one.
Chesko Sebulba.
Chicken chow.
Oh man.
I love how the shot of like when the race was about to begin, it had like the grandstands or whatever.
Mhm.
Like literally how they made that scene was they just took different colored Q-tips.
That was one of the practical things.
Yeah, because it was like it was a miniature set. I mean, it was a very impressive set, but like it was just like I think it was like 100,000 different colored Q-tips
Yeah.
that was made for like the crowd in the grandstand.
That's
Oh my
awesome.
God.
Yeah, and like a fan blew on it, and like they fluffed up the Q-tips to make it like have like movement, and so like that's literally what it is, and it looks.
That's all I'm gonna be able to think about when I watch the pod race.
Yeah, oh yeah, me too. It's the whole pod racing scene. It while not as good as the racing sequence in Spy Kids 3D Game Over, I do
Shut the fuck up about Spy Kids 3D Game Over, you bitch.
I mean,
It's not even in the top 2 best Spy Kids movies. That's a fact.
oh man.
Sorry to interrupt you, Kade. What were you saying?
No,
Was
that
that
was
your
it.
whole point?
That was it.
Your whole point was just to name drop Spy Kids 3D Game Over. I
Yeah.
fucking hate you. I
Fucking shout
actually-
out. shout out to Sylvester Stallone, the toy maker, for being such a compelling villain in that film.
Cameo in
Did-
that scene. By
Did
the way.
somebody ring the Dinkster? Cade, when you showed me that YouTube channel existed, I couldn't believe it.
Trimmy showed me that.
Yep.
Oh my
friend showed me
god,
it.
I couldn't believe that.
Fucking rip Bill Paxton, man.
Yeah, definitely a huge
I
loss.
got-
All right, let's not get too far off.
we're already starting to get on tangents. I'm thinking. Oh yeah,
I
the
got-
fucking lightsaber duel. Oh, sorry, Trimmy, what were you saying?
That's exactly what you're gonna say. I gotta think the lightsaber duel is the best part of the movie. It obviously is. We're not gonna argue about this, but
Right.
imagine like you watch the original trilogy in theaters. You show
Yeah.
up to this movie, and you have these guys doing fucking flippy shit and
Mhm.
parkour and two-sided lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people thought this movie was better than it was. Like the people were leaving the theater
Yep.
like, "This
Yeah.
is the greatest."
I agree. Yeah.
Well, like
Never
I
been
remember.
better.
I remember being like 6 or 7, or I might even been 8 at the time. How old were we, Joe? We were like hella young when that came out. I was like 7.
It's one of the first things I remember, though.
Yeah, from that promo of episode 1, what stands out to me in my brain was the two. That's the scene that fucking sells the movie, in my opinion. And it's Darth Maul all the way. Yep, and the Duel of Fate. Thank you, Jake. Yeah. The Duel of Fates.
The music.
That was just unbelievably cool. I really liked Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. I really liked how they fought together. Like there was a scene, I think, when the battle first started, or like it was when they kind of transitioned into the catwalk area where
he does like a little fake.
Obi-Wan fakes and then like they just had really cool choreography. That they really stepped up the choreography game for the lightsaber duels starting with episode 1 for sure.
I would say as well, they continued the tradition. Like I feel like every movie in the original trilogy continuously got better at having like sets for the lightsaber duel to occur in, and I mean this was even better than 6's for sure. Like it's awesome, the fucking the doors that you can't get through, those impenetrable doors, watching Qui-Gon get killed, amazing top to bottom. My favorite part. Oh, sorry, Jake.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say my favorite part of that whole sequence after Qui-Gon gets stabbed, like rip Qui-Gon, but oh, spoilers! shit, spoilers. No, but the stare down between Obi-Wan and Maul after it happened, where they were just waiting for the doors to go down. Maul was walking back and forth, and Obi-Wan was just like, "I'm gonna fucking murder your ass."
And that was a lit one too. Right after that.
Yep. Right before it happens too, he does that, like.
And then Obi-Wan's like fucking ready. Like that scene, I'll watch like lightsaber duel compilations every once in a while, and that scene still gets me juiced. And it's not even fighting; it's those two staring down. Fucking sick. Fucking sick. Yeah, it's the tension, and the timed doors. Everything was so great with that.
And I know that they are cutting to Anakin and Jar Jar Binks. But it's still good editing. Like they actually pace that sequence really well of how it rotates between all of the things happening, and you have a good sense of what's going on and the implications of that shit.
When an actual child takes down a capital shit, are we going to talk about it?
Let's try spinning. That's a good try.
Now this is pod racing.
So one other thing I do want to mention before this movie, or before we go on with this conversation, arguably, maybe, perhaps, the most important character in the entire franchise, R2-D2.
That's actually very good.
To be honest, probably we have R2-D2 to thank for the destruction of the Trade Federation blockade ship. Interesting piece of fact here. So Star Wars has this thing where right now they're writing a comic book series about what happens to Anakin's lightsaber between when his hand gets cut off at Bespin and how Maz Kanata gets it. There's a thing about how fucking Darth Vader's glove falls off out of the Death Star in Episode 6, and there's like a whole comic book series. There are these little things that people will go crazy about in Star Wars. The first time that R2-D2 shows up at all in Star Wars is Episode 1. There's no explanation of why
he's just there.
Amazing. There's no and again, I mean, you take him out of Star Wars and
tons of shit is different. Yeah, the Star Wars doesn't even happen if R2 isn't around. That's for sure.
Every movie he saves at least one person's life in Star Wars.
And then he gets a mega buff in Attack of the Clones too with his jet thrusters. What a fucking buff he gets, dude! He gets a flamethrower and like a shocker and shit. Good point though, Joe. R2-D2 is arguably the most important character in. He's definitely one of the most important characters in the entire fucking series. But going back to Episode 1 and that final sequence Jake was talking about, what did we think of the Gungan battle when they were like catapulting the orbs?
Let's throw some rocks.
I loved the balls. When I was a little kid, I'd play it and I'd be like, "This is a lightning ball," and I'd like throw it in the screen or something. Yeah, I loved it.
I really liked how in the first Star Wars Battlefront, like the campaign mode, the first or second mission you play is like you're the droids and you have to beat the Gungans.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a tank, go in there and kill one of their shield generators, you fucking slaughter them. In less than 5 minutes, you win.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love Battlefront so much.
Yeah.
Battlefront 2.
So good.
Battlefront 2 is so good.
Oh my god, it's so good.
I want to get the Squad Commander fucking game, the
Republic
remake.
Commando.
I didn't.
On the
PSP.
remaster.
I got that.
the Republic Commando
I
with the
never
Yeah.
clone.
I want to play.
That game is fucking awesome, but I have not bought it now.
I want to get the new Starfighter one too. Rogue
Squadrons.
Squadrons is sick. I think Jake's the only one that has it, or just
Tim has it.
I got it.
Tim has it too.
It's hard.
That's a fucking
It's
sick game.
really good, but it's really hard.
Yeah, that's a game I could
Unless
fucking.
you got one of these things, in which case
Oh,
it's
yeah.
really fun.
I would get some fucking joysticks for that. That'd be hype as hell. That'd be really good in VR as well.
Yeah, dude. Fucking Dave and Buster's. A lot of them have like a Star Wars VR thing that you can like get into, and you like close the door behind you, and there's like air that blasts on you and shit, dude. It is
TIE Fighter.
prime. Yeah. But,
So
TIE
prime.
there's the TIE Fighters. There's the Yavin 4 battle. There's Snow Speeders on Hoth, and then I think there's. I want to say the other one's a speeder bike on Endor, but I'm not sure. But it's
Okay.
awesome. Like with the wind blowing on you and everything, it's great.
Shout outs to D&Bs.
Yeah, dude.
DMB.
Before we kind of move on to the next episode, what from 1 through 10, what would you guys rate this episode of Star Wars?
1 through 9.
One. It's the
10.
best one.
No.
It's the best one. It's the one I watch the most every time a new Star Wars movie comes out, mainly for that lightsaber fight.
I want to be
And
clear.
because
I
of
wanna be
pure
clear.
nostalgia, but that's why these movies are good, because I watched it when I was a kid.
It's all nostalgia with the prequels.
Is 10 the best Star Wars movie you've seen, or are we like talking about like all movies? Is 10 the best Star Wars movie, and then 1 has to be your least favorite?
1 is like the top, and 10 is the least.
We only have 9 movies.
Or 9.
Wait, what?
I'm saying like a rating system, like of good.
Oh,
and
a
bad.
rank, like a ranking, not a
No,
rating.
like, no, like rating,
Let me-
like, as in
Oh.
good and bad.
Oh, okay.
Does
And
that
we're
make
comparing
sense?
Oh.
we're comparing to the other 8 Star Wars movies.
Yes.
Okay.
So let me do a mental count real quick. Yeah.
Wait, so we're doing a
We
tier
should have
list
done this
here,
earlier.
sort of.
All right, let me write this.
I would
down.
probably out of the 9, I would probably put it at about like 7 or 6, maybe. Like maybe even
That's
5.
fair.
I would say
I was
5.
gonna say 5.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Jake's
Five.
Brown grows into it.
Jake is numero uno.
I
You
would say
guys just
7.
didn't get it.
Yeah. You guys didn't get it. I got how sick Maul is, bro. I get it. I understand.
I'd say 7. 7's at it for me.
So
Yeah,
before we
I'm gonna
move
say
on,
7.
yeah. Okay. All right. Well, anyways, okay, Kemper. Before Kemper's fucking drunk or tired, I can't tell which.
Yes.
Tired.
Yes. Before we move on, there is one thing I want to touch back on with the Obi-Wan and Darth Maul fight, because that also causes like this whole separate storyline between those two characters. Because Maul, spoiler alert, Maul comes back, not in the films other than Solo. He's like in the final.
Yeah.
He's like in one of the ending sequences of Solo. But like they have this like this fucking rivalry that goes on for like even after Luke is born.
Yeah.
Like it's actually really sick. And
He has a brother.
Yes.
He does.
Oh
He
yeah,
does.
yeah. It's not a blood brother. Like he's not related by blood, but like
Same species.
yeah, you're talking about Savage, right? Savage Opress. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I think he has. I think there's someone else that I'm thinking of, because in the actual show there's like an actual brother that's with him that.
Yeah, the guy he's a Zabrak too. He looks just like him, except he's different. That's Savage, yeah. Palpatine murders the shit out of that guy. That guy. That another awesome scene. Probably one of the coolest parts of Clone Wars is that.
Maul is one of the best characters.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Star Wars by the time
Oh, yeah.
his arc is done.
Oh
I
yes.
agree. I
He's
agree.
So interesting.
All because of the Phantom Menace. That all stemmed from this movie.
Yes, Jake. You are correct.
Are we confident with moving on?
Yeah. But okay. Last thing. What did we think of the Deus Ex moment of Obi-Wan hopping over and then chopping him in half. Does anyone have any? Nobody has any issues with that.
Darth-
Nobody has any issues while Maul just goes, huh? Just watches him hop over him and be like, "Oh, this could be bad."
Darth Maul should have lit a lightsaber and just dropped it on him.
Right?
I
Force pushed him down.
I just chalk it up to like a weird, like, I'm just assuming it's like a force jump. I know I'm retconning it right now. It's like a force jump in which he is able to move over him so quickly. This was also the movie where they introduced force dashing.
I was
That's
going to
true.
bring that up. Why
That's
didn't you
true.
do that earlier?
Yeah. So I'm going to retcon it by saying that he was able to jump over him really quickly. It wasn't a regular jump.
So you're saying he did a button combo for a force dash and jump.
At the same time.
He did a force dash jump.
With a force lightsaber suck on the way
Right.
up.
Right.
Suck.
Damn, dude.
Can you force suck?
You and McGregor went to the fucking gym.
Yeah, dude.
Damn.
Hell
Yeah.
All right. I think we can competently move on to episode 2. What do you guys think?
I
Terrible.
think so.
Have we
All right.
discussed the you know, like the wardrobe changes and stuff that occurred in Naboo enough though?
We need to.
We need to talk about that.
The wardrobe change. Let's
We can just
have
save it for another episode. We can
No,
do that.
let's start it now. It's Star Wars Day. Let's fucking go.
We can do that thing that other podcasts do, where we'll like you guys. Well, I guess I'm just a special guest, but here, $1 million idea coming your way. Lots of other podcasts like to do this thing where they're like, "Well, we reviewed this and we had so much fun doing it. We have a part 2." So we can just spend the next 3-hour podcast talking about wardrobes in Naboo. I don't want to blow our wad all the way right now.
Okay.
We will see.
I'd say this. I really want to go to Naboo and, drop some credits.
For sure.
Just,
Naboo nightclubs.
Naboo nightclubs seem pretty lit. Have some death sticks.
Yeah, dude. Just close your eyes, if you would, for a moment. Just imagine you're fucking up on some balcony somewhere. There's like 1,000 waterfalls around you, dude. You're getting ripped off of blue goo and ripping dust. You're like, oh, and you look out and you're just like, wow. Isn't that a thing?
Vibe.
Wow.
Look at those
It's nice here.
animals.
Fuck. We're only on episode 1. Oh my god.
Episode
Oh my
2.
god.
I have a feeling we're gonna have less to say by episode 9.
All right, I've got another hot take about episode 2.
Okay.
It's if you take out all of the dialogue of Anakin and Padme, it's not that bad.
That's fair.
But unfortunately, we live in a world where the dialogue does exist. So
That's in the final cut.
That's totally fair though. Out of all the prequel movies, that fucking shot when the clones are attacking the droid trooper,
Yeah, with the dust.
and the dust, and they're like,
Yeah.
the big lightsaber duel in the Coliseum. Are you kidding me? Jake has an excellent point here. That's not a hot take.
And some cool spaceship stuff with Jango and Obi-Wan on Kamino, and
The Sonic Chargers.
The Sonic guys.
Mace
fucking
Windu saying this party's over like a badass.
Fucking Jango Fett.
Hell yeah.
Jango Fett. That was by far my favorite addition to the fucking
Dude, the sonic charges from Jango Fett literally inspired the genre of dubstep. That's what happened.
Wow. Go ahead, Trey.
I'm going to take over. There are 3 things that are good in this movie. The clones attacking, Anakin killing the Sand People is great to show him, like, having that dark side in him, and the Sonic Charges.
Yes.
I got this from a YouTube reviewer, Cosmonaut Variety Hour.
I know him. Yep.
Think about it like this. So Palpatine needs to kill Padme, but he can't do it, so he gets Count Dooku to do it. Count Dooku needs to kill Padme, but he can't do it. He doesn't want to do it, so he gets Jango Fett to do it. Jango Fett needs to kill Padme, but Jango Fett doesn't want to do it, so he gets the assassin to do it. The assassin needs to kill Boba Fett, but she doesn't want to do it. So she gets that little droid to go and do it. And if you really want to dig deep, the droid
bugs
can't even shoot in the window. They drop bugs in there.
That's
And you know what happens
wow.
at the end? They go to chase down the bounty hunter and the bug. And the bugs, whatever, they go to chase her down. Jango Fett could have literally just drove by the window, pop, leave. But no, he goes out of his way to kill that person, setting the plot in motion. The plot was screwed from the beginning.
That's very true.
True.
That lady was also
deniability. If you hire someone else to do it, you can shift the blame to them.
Well, guess what? It doesn't fucking matter if he killed her. He did the job. Count Dooku would have been like, he's on the separatist side. He could have said, no, it wasn't me. What are they going to do? Send him to trial? He's part of the bad guys.
Oh, he just played.
was that a seismic charge?
I found a video. It's 2 hours of the seismic charge sound. How to get high.
Oh god.
The internet does not disappoint. Wah. Yeah. I won't lie. What did you guys think of the Camino scene? I thought the Camino scene was actually really cool. Like the whole process behind the clones, and then little kid me was like, those look like stormtroopers. Are those stormtroopers? What is going on here? And so I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
Yep.
Like
Camino as a world is it's sweet. It was one of my favorite maps in Battlefront 2 when there's like all those
that was our sniper map, bro.
Yeah,
was our sniper map.
Yeah, Obi-Wan as the Jedi and Jango as the person. That's such a fun battle to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
like
Yeah.
I really loved that scene as well, Joe, but like I always get confused even rewatching like that scene about like Obi-Wan comes in, obviously doesn't really realize that he's receiving a whole army that someone made the order
previously ordered
without even telling the Jedi Council, and the Jedi Council's not even concerned
Jedi
about
Council
it.
be like, who the fuck ordered an army?
That's a really good point.
It's like passing a bar tab to someone.
What
the
was-
Jedi don't have
It was a
questions. They're
Jedi
like,
master.
let's go.
Yeah,
It was a Jedi master, and I forget what is
It was Dooku's master, Sifo Dyas.
Sifo Dyas. Thank you.
Sifo Dyas he was one of the Jedi who had a little bit more. I forget what the word, but basically he could like see parts of the future, basically, and he knew that this was coming, and this was something that he was like bringing up a whole bunch. Because at the point in which Sifo Dyas was like, we need to have a clone army, the what do they say? The Force is getting cloudy or whatever.
Yeah.
So like the Jedi Council knew something was going on, but basically they weren't doing anything about it. And he was like, we need an army. So he basically started to set up the clone troopers. Then Palpatine comes in when Count Dooku, who was Sifo Dyas's apprentice, Count Dooku goes to the dark side in a very interesting. He's one of the, I think, 12 Dark Jedi. That's its all.
Dude, I really like Darth Tyrannus. And
Yeah, he's awesome.
Count
But he's the one who he then goes out and finds Jango Fett and then gets this clone army going. All of this is behind actually Palpatine the whole time, because Palpatine knows he's going to take over and need this army because he doesn't give a fuck about the droid army because they Roger suck ass.
Except for the droidicas, they do not suck ass.
The droidicas!
Except for against
Droidicas.
They got the relationship.
They're still coming through.
They're still coming through.
No match for Droidicas.
Spoiler alert, they were a match for droidicas. They immediately worked them.
Also, this was the first time I believe in at the time this was released, we saw Yoda in action.
Yeah,
it
Which is that's the worst part of this movie. That's one of the worst.
That was really underwhelming. It was kind of cool, but
I thought it was sick.
Young me thought it was awesome.
I thought it was dope as fuck whenever I was a kid. I was like, that's the coolest fucking thing, seeing Yoda jump around.
Yeah, and fucking do flipping and dipping and shit.
But it only lasted like a minute, and then he had to like save fucking
gifted and who's
Well.
going to be over there.
They
Fucking
the-
stabbed and lightning for no reason.
well because
The best part is, go ahead, Tim.
because it took the VFX artists like hundreds of hours to render Yoda that much that it started eating into a lot of the production, and so that's why it
makes a lot of sense.
Okay, yeah.
and then it just didn't make sense about like the different versions of Yoda. That also pisses me off a little bit. Like they make Yoda's.
They did the animatronic and then they
Yeah.
would do CGI. Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
But it makes sense, but it just I don't know.
We'll,
It's like,
we'll talk about
I know,
derpy ass
I know.
practical Yoda and when we get to episode 8.
I love old man Yoda. Fuck me up with some old man Yoda. Yeah, he really is. But going off what Joe was saying about like the origins of the clone army, and after that point, once the army was ordered and Kamino was commissioned to do that, they needed a genetic template. Count Dooku hires Jango to track down one of his proteges, and then that's how he hires Jango and a bunch of other bounty hunters, and then the one who would come out on top would obviously be
Jango.
the most fit, and it was Jango. So
yeah,
that's how that happened as well. Yeah, lots of interesting things with
You gotta
with
see
episode
Boba
2.
Fett as a fucking brat of a kid.
True. Have a maniacal laugh when he talks about death charges.
I like how he
Got him!
Heads get fucking yeeted.
Aren't so cocky now, are you?
Get him! Fire!
Wait, so going back to how come Jango Fett didn't just kill who was it Obi-Wan and Anakin when he was like 500 fucking feet behind them with the dart?
Yeah.
Because the plot demands it, Kade.
The plot, man.
Because that would make too much sense. If
Or-
Their plot armor was too thick.
Hey,
I would also say there's the argument to be made they were trying to be somewhat tactful. Because obviously if you ice a Jedi, people are going to get kind of pissed. And
Yeah.
like
That's true.
especially if it's Obi-Wan, because he was a master.
Jedi.
Obi-Wan was a head turner in terms of the Jedi. Like
well,
everybody knew who he was.
and I guess because he was a master at that point.
Yeah.
And I think not only that, there are a lot of instances, and I think this will come up in a huge sense when we discuss episode 7, but there are a lot of instances where things like that would normally, well, I guess, and in episode 3, when Anakin's getting his stumps burned off, he should have died, but with the power of the Force, he's able to like withstand some of that. So there's the argument to be made too, possibly, that a blow dart maybe wouldn't
Wouldn't have killed him.
Yeah, if it was just like toxins or whatever. It's anti-changeling bullets.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But
That's
they,
what it
His
was.
specific
But they-
racist bullets.
Specifically one-armed changelings.
Yeah.
That's how he targeted her. I knew he was going to get her up.
He's
By the way, shout outs to that girl for being the first sacrificial arm that Obi-Wan takes canonically.
Exactly.
but
Yeah. That nightclub scene was actually really cool too. When I rewatched it a couple. Actually, I rewatched it.
I watched, yeah.
When the nightclub scene, I thought was shot really, really well. Like there's a lot of shots where it's like a first person type of a thing when
Mhm.
Anakin's looking for the
Mhm.
assassin.
Yeah. It does a flip on you.
Guys,
It pulls a sneaky on you.
we got the death stick guy.
I
though.
think that's
Yeah, we did get
The death stick guy is probably one of the better.
And he
additions.
did go home and rethink his life.
He did.
After that too.
I wonder what
And the
happened
Force-
to that guy.
Probably the best like piece of knowledge that any of us could take. It's like, yeah, go home and rethink your life. Don't smoke death stick.
Here's what happened to the death stick guy. You ready?
Yeah.
Death stick guy.
Oh no.
He goes home, and he begins rethinking his life. What's he thinking about? Well, they're death sticks, right? You get cancer from death sticks, don't you?
Mhm.
And death stick guy is thinking like, I mean, I don't know. Did I really give people cancer? Did I? And so he starts calling up all of his contacts and reaching out to him. He finds out that most of his contacts have lung cancer from the death sticks. Okay, death stick guy. He goes, "This is awful. I'm rethinking my life right now. I just rethought my life. I can't live in a world like this." Death stick guy goes out. He gets his GED. He gets his bachelor's. He gets a master's. He gets a PhD in fucking cancer epidemiology. He goes out.
This is very specific.
This is what happens. Death stick guy actually cures cancer.
He cures space cancer.
He cures space cancer. And
Holy
the problem is
People keep smoking death sticks and getting face cancer.
so then
he decides to take matters into his own hands.
he makes the foundation for antenna people against death stick use. And
Antenna people. Okay.
And then the Empire comes up to him and says, listen, I know that you're on a good rabbit hole here, but death sticks are very important to funding all these fucking Death Stars. Okay? We need to tax these people somehow.
And so he goes up, he sues Big Death Stick. And he's him versus Big Death Stick. When at that moment, episode 7 happens, a Death Star, millions of miles away, blows up Coruscant, boom, dead, end. That's the rest of the tale of the Death Stick guy.
That was comprehensive. I feel blessed to have taken part in that.
All my Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Question, Joe.
Yeah.
What the fuck is cancer epidemiology?
Is that a thing?
Is that a real thing?
Absolutely, that's a thing. It's one of the most important things because nobody knows how cancer gets started. So this is a huge tangent here. But basically, if you don't know how cancer starts chemically, so you go through and you pull this is the way that we found out that smoking causes cancer is they pulled a bunch of doctors who had they pulled a bunch of doctors of the ones that had cancer. Most of them also smoked, and so that's how we figured out. But cancer, every kind of cancer is totally different from the other ones. So when people talk about curing cancer, it's not possible. You can cure leukemia or lung cancer sometimes, but all the cancers are different. And so to figure out why people are getting cancer, you have to do things like that.
So
it's huge. Lots of money in it.
I think General Grievous smokes death sticks.
No, he got. In one of the cool things about that Clone Wars miniseries that we talked about, he gets force crushed by Mace Windu, and it crushes his new lungs are his robot lungs, and that's why he always has the cough.
Yeah. Didn't that get retconned though?
Did it?
Because he coughs.
Because it was in what's his name? The guy who made Clone Wars series.
Did he redo the whole Grievous thing? No, I'm pretty sure. Because the ending of the Clone Wars series went straight into the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, episode 3.
Yeah, Grievous was getting on a ship.
And then Mace came down like a boss. Yeah.
Or because wasn't it in Tartakovsky's Clone Wars that he got his?
That's what we're talking about. That's what. Yeah.
And didn't a lot of that get retconned? Or
I know a lot of the a lot of the extended universe stuff, the books and the comic books, got rendered non-canon. But I don't think the Clone Wars series ever did. I don't know. I'd have to look into that.
The cough, Anakin's scar, and a bunch of
There's a lot of stuff that transferred over for sure.
Okay, I could just be tripping, but
no, you could be right too, Kade. I really have no idea. I'd have to look into it.
That's just what I've heard. Tartakovsky's Clone Wars got retconned.
Even though it's way cooler.
The 2008 Clone Wars that makes the 2003 Clone Wars not possible, and the 2008 one is canon.
Yeah,
so,
that's true. You're not wrong. I like a lot of aspects of the other Clone Wars as well, but the Tarkovsky one is very close to my heart.
All right, are you ready to move on to Revenge?
We're still talking about episode 2. You bigot.
We shouldn't have talked about it to start with.
How about we talk about that bitch at the library that was just it doesn't exist?
Yeah, the sassy woman
is clearly one of those people that's doesn't get it.
She was a fucking Star Wars boomer, essentially. Is what happened. Yoda is way older than her, and even he wasn't a fucking boomer.
That scene also inspired one of my favorite memes of all time, and it's literally it starts out just saying, when you can't find your favorite porn video titled "Stepsister Gets Cream Pied by Horny Black Stepbro," and then it's just fucking Obi-Wan saying, "Impossible, the archives must be incomplete."
Fucking hell. Yeah, we'll go with that. But to top off the episode 2 discussion, we have to do it. We have to talk about Padme and Anakin. We have to talk about the worst side story of side stories.
She groomed him, and is clearly like 10, 12 years older and
Yeah.
came onto him at like 5 in episode 1.
I
Yeah.
love how Anakin was like, at the beginning of the movie, Obi-Wan's like, dude, you're horny. You need to chill the fuck out. And he's like,
go jerk off.
And then you're like, so you two are gonna go have a romantic getaway. Just make sure she
Yep.
doesn't die. And then she's down there like stripping for him. Like, we can't be together.
Yeah.
What are
Literally,
you thinking?
I'm reading the thing. It says Jedi Council be like, okay, Anakin, we know you haven't seen a woman in 10 years and you're a raging hormonal teenager, but we need you to go protect the senator for a couple weeks. Don't fall in love with her or anything, though. It just shows
It is
the senator,
fucking
and
Padme.
it's just fucking like Padme, like almost half naked.
Dude,
Like,
she went way too much together for that to be possible.
There's a robot chicken thing where they're like talking down in there, and she like takes her clothes off and starts stripping. She's like, we can't be together. You're a Jedi, and I'm
literally in the scene when they're next to the fireplace, she's like wearing like some fucking BTSM shit. Like,
Yeah. She is
like how
wearing
the
a choker.
fuck can you not, man? Like,
All in
our
all,
boy-
I don't blame Anakin at all.
Yeah,
I don't
All in
either.
all.
Fuck
he was a victim of circumstances, man. Like,
especially with all of his like nasty like one-liners when he was like sweet talking her. He's
yeah.
like, I don't think the system works.
Do you remember? What about the scene where they're at the dinner table and he like jankily cuts a piece of fruit and then like floats it over to her mouth? I'm like, what are you doing, dude? What are you
This
doing?
all started from that little fucking rape face Anakin gave at the very beginning of Phantom Menace. Like,
Are you an angel? Yeah.
at the very end of Phantom Menace, like if you look at Anakin's face, like while Padme's looking at, like he gives like the most rapey face, and he's a fucking child. Like,
He's like, I'm gonna jerk off to you tonight, and there's nothing you can do about it.
He learned about the dark side of the Force way earlier than fucking Palpatine. That's for sure.
Like you said, though, like
slaughter them like animals.
they're like, okay, Anakin, go protect this hot princess. I'd be like, yeah, fuck the Jedi too. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
I want to ride a fucking rhino creature and then fall off and laugh. Come on.
Oh, I know those aren't good backs. Those are giant
Sit-
monsters.
Senator of Naboo pussy got me acting unwise.
Goddamn Padme's outfits, though. Fuck.
Oh my dude.
Who did that?
Dude, at
Who
the
made them?
end, too, when she's like in the like just a really like the spandex, the white
Yeah.
spandex at the end. That's a good one.
When she gets clawed, when
Mhm.
she gets like clawed, and she's like, ah!
Just like that too.
Yeah.
Like, how does Obi-Wan know they're like not know they're fucking? Like, she falls off the ship, and Anakin's like, "Put it down. We gotta save her."
He was talking to his boner, not like
Yeah.
put it down.
Obi-Wan had a side piece the whole time too.
Yeah, the
And I-
Mandalorian lady.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he was just like, oh, get after it, buddy.
But I think Joe told me this because you can't marry in the if you're in the Jedi Council, but you can still bang.
You're not supposed to love. You're not
You
supposed
can
to
fuck
have
anybody
feelings
you
of
want.
love. Yeah.
Just can't love.
Right.
But you got to be
It-
married to the Jedi Order.
This reminds me of a sad callback. Maester Aemon talking about the Night's Watch in Game of Thrones. That's very similar kind of thing. Like, if those guys couldn't go to that brothel and fuck some whores, they would lose their fucking minds and they would kill each other.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty similar with the Jedi. I think if they didn't have side pieces, they would collectively.
It's like prostitution. Yeah.
Side pieces and death sticks make the Jedi
Or
Council
there
go
might be
round.
some sort of
Yeah,
like pretty
exactly.
fucked up things going where they're like doing some things to the younglings and moving
Mm,
older Master Jedi.
Jesus Christ.
yeah.
I also want to make the point: how many mass shootings are there in Star Wars? 0. Prostitution.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
technically, there is like one big mass shooting that Anakin does a little bit.
Oh yeah,
A little mash.
little
He
bit.
does do that. That's right.
That was
Yeah.
Padme's second week. So
It was a mass slaying. Okay,
Yeah.
get it right.
Yeah.
it's different. every time.
the Colosseum scene. Now I know I said the Padme
Claw.
yeah. The Colosseum scene is sick.
Mace
Does anyone
Windu,
Yeah.
Jango Fett
That was-
fight
yep.
is pretty cool.
Yep.
When the clones come down and all the other Jedis like put up their
Yep.
lightsabers,
Lightsabers go out. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's an awesome scene.
And Jango Fett killing the dinosaur Jedi that just a fucking whatever that lame herbivore dinosaur is, and he just caps him 3 times. That's actually the first instance that I remember, like in a Star Wars movie as a kid, like where a non-Jedi, someone without a lightsaber, murks someone with a lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Which I always find those kinds of like powerhouse characters interesting. Like I feel like Han Solo would kind of be in that same level, although their Jedi and Sith weren't in high abundant and like
Opportunity.
but I feel like him and Chewie would be in that like echelon of
I don't know.
non-Force
I don't think they
users.
could take someone
they
with a
mowed
lightsaber.
down those Wookiees in Kashyyyk.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Isn't there
Very
a comic where Chewbacca like beats the piss out of Darth Vader?
Well, if Chewie gets his hands on you, no matter who you are, he's gonna rip you to pieces.
Yeah, you're kind of
Like, he's like that. That was actually one of the things I really liked about Solo is it showed how how much of a powerhouse Chewie was, and like he can like rip steel shackles off.
He'll chewy your neck off.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't he like 7 feet tall too? Or
He's
something like
really
that?
tall. He's
Yeah.
really tall.
He's a big boy.
He's like a Halo Spartan.
He's a furry slender man.
No. Why?
Why?
Why did we have to go there? Why did we have to go there? God damn it.
Okay, so it was a Reek, I believe, was that Rhino character.
Oh yeah, you looked this up when we were watching it.
Yeah, I could remember. I was like, I know it starts with an R, but I can't remember it.
The Rhino
Greyjoy
character.
being-
What?
That's a Reek. Yeah.
Jedi.
And then the cat thing is a Nexu, and then obviously we have the Acklay.
The Acklay.
The
Maybe
Acklay.
my favorite creature in Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's-
That thing has like one of
Yes.
the most identifiable like screeches or calls.
Is he like the praying mantis looking motherfucker?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The thing that Obi-Wan fucks up when once he gets a lightsaber, he's like dancing around it the entire time, and then the moment he gets a lightsaber, he just kills the shit out of it.
How much do you think Obi-Wan shit his pants when he realized he had to face that son of a bitch?
None, because Obi-Wan is a fucking boss. Thanks, Joe.
Got you guys with the sound effects here.
Yeah, thanks.
Get the
Joe's got our
soundboard.
back. We do need a Star Wars soundboard, by the way, for the stream.
Yes.
Strim.
For the stream. Bye,
I
Kemper.
forgot there was all this shit to talk about.
Yeah.
I know, right?
This is a long
Uh,
boy.
Yeah, so I think we can confidently move on to Revenge of the Sith. Does anyone have anything else to say about Episode 2? Attack of the Clones.
This was only episode 2. I thought we were on 3.
No, dude.
Motherfucker.
Not even fucking close. We're not even a third of the way done, bitch.
What the fuck?
I told you this is going to be one strap in.
This is gonna be a doozy.
And then I think, okay, this is what I'll leave off on for Attack of the Clones. Obi-Wan, when they're flying in the ships, and that cool scene when they're in the clone cruisers and they're blowing shit up and launching missiles everywhere, Obi-Wan has to point out to the pilot to aim at the fucking thing that they're shooting at. Aim at that thing! And then they blow it up and he's like, good job, couldn't have done it without you, sir. Like, what?
Well, I don't, maybe they were just like, maybe they were all just like in that battle rage thing where they're like, oh, little droid, good. And he's like, okay, guys, stop turning off. Shoot the big thing.
Just like the simulations.
We're closing it out. Closing it out right there. Let's go.
that's where we're closing. Just like. All right, we're moving on to Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Officially. Or did we after each movie, did we want to do what Tim was asking and kind of rate it, or do we want to do that at the end?
I was thinking we just rate it for each movie, so that
I
way.
think, yeah, because then the discussion is fresh in our minds too.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so
2.
What?
one is
Wait.
the bottom, right?
1 is the top.
1 is the top.
Oh,
1 is the top.
1
Oh.
to
Yeah.
10.
That shit's number 9.
yeah.
Yeah.
9.
I
Yeah.
I
don't remember
think
like,
unfortunately-
really anything.
Or
from
number
the
8.
movies, so
Wait, there's
but-
9 movies. Where's the 10th
Yeah.
one? Where are we getting 10?
No, it's a 1 to 10 for each one. It's not a ranking. I think it's confusing because I would assume like a 10 out of 10 would be good, right?
Oh,
think that's
oh,
right.
I see.
But it's not like a this is number 1, this is
Like
number
good
2.
to bad. of a
Yeah,
ranking.
Gotcha. Okay, so I would give Attack of the Clones a 4.
3.
I would probably give it a solid 4.
Out
That
of
means
10.
you put it at number 4.
Yeah. No.
Oh.
4 out of 10.
I'm confused. Are we doing a
Are we-
rating?
how many-
Are we doing
Okay.
a rating
Oh,
How
or
many
a
fingers
ranking?
out of 10 do you give this movie?
Rating.
How many thumbs up do you give this movie if all of your fingers were thumbs?
Okay.
I would cut my hands off.
I would give this movie 3 thumbs up.
Oh, Mr. Anakin over here.
Heard.
I would also
Oh,
give
man.
it 3 thumbs up. This is the worst Star Wars movie.
I'd say
Yeah.
3 is
Three.
4.
I'll give it 3 big
Lord.
toes up.
Yeah.
3 big toes. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my 4.
Fucker, I thought we were doing rankings, not ratings.
I
We
thought
can
there were
do
rankings at
we
first,
can do a
too.
yeah
Let's
we
do
can do
a
a,
written
ranking
down.
after, maybe.
yeah once we've discussed all of them we can do a ranking.
Yeah.
Like a quick jot down.
How many
Alright.
toes? I'd
So we're
give
moving
it.
on.
I'm giving it 5.
5
Give
toes
it a
or 5
5.
thumbs up.
5 toes.
That's the hottest take you've had today.
Are you sure Phantom Menace is number 1 isn't hotter than that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
out of
know.
how many toes?
10.
Out of 10.
Out of 10? 5 out of 10 isn't that bad. 5 out of 10, that's pretty bad.
That's average. That's a C plus.
No, that's an F.
That's an F.
You guys are giving it like you didn't even sign your name.
Love
Oh
it.
man.
Anywho,
Episode
moving
3.
on. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. How do we feel about this one, boys?
I
It's
love that
as
shit.
bad as Attack of the Clones. It just
I
has a little bit better of a
This
lightsaber
is a
scene.
good ass.
The
movie.
dialogue is
Mm.
not that good. It's just as bad as the first and second one.
I
Yeah, I
like
agree
this
with that.
What
one
happens in
more.
this movie? Like, there's events.
Yeah, no, I agree with the dialogue, Jake. I agree with the dialogue was pretty weak in this one. There is some impactful moments involving dialogue, but the dialogue isn't what pushes it forward.
Bring
It's
the
like
trap.
the sequence, yeah. Spring the trap. That is what, yeah. Joe and I fucking jive with that movie because it shows Anakin, Prime Anakin, and Prime Obi-Wan fucking in their partnership
one
duo.
sick battle.
The unstoppable
General
fucking
Grievous
duo.
sequences aren't that good. The opening
Yeah.
space battle when they go in to kill Dooku is not that great either.
I also have to say, we can't really throw too many barbs at the dialogue of this movie because hello there.
Hello there is.
Hello there.
iconic Star Wars.
Hello there.
Very true. Very true. But yeah, Jake, you're right about the opening. Like in terms of the space sequence in that movie, it was good. I like the Ripper droids. I thought the Ripper droids were kind of neat.
Buzz droids.
The Buzz
What?
droids.
Buzz droids. That's what it was. They ripped apart the ship. That's what I always thought in my head. Ripper droids. But I thought that was kind of interesting. R4 got fucking destroyed in that scene. Obi-Wan's version of R2. He was just like a fucking discount R2 that was red.
Yeah.
But yeah. I definitely thought the space battle could have been better, but it was okay. It wasn't bad or anything.
To be honest, I feel like the background of the space battle was the best part of it because I feel like that was the first time I watched something on Star Wars where you I guess I won't say that's the first time, but that was the time where I most felt like in the middle of a battle in a Star Wars movie. Up in like at least
Plus,
in the prequel.
that the scale was massive.
That's what I mean.
The scale
That's
is
like-
fucking huge, and it was space to ground. It was happening on the ground as well in the cities.
Yep.
Definitely really cool. Going on into that, and then they get onto the Republic ship, or not the Republic ship, the Separatist ship.
Yeah.
They find Palpatine and stuff.
They do some fucking broken physics with elevators.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They do that. Younglings always on the move.
Yeah.
with Anakin doing that, and I really liked when they got caught in the gravity thing.
Oh yeah.
In the hallway, and Obi-Wan's just like sitting there. He's like, "How did we? We're so much better than this. How did we fucking get caught in this thing?"
He's like,
but
wait for R2. Yeah. Another time. R2 said,
yeah, and I really liked their cueings. When Obi-Wan and Anakin are discussing plans on how to get out of this, and like Anakin's like, and Obi-Wan's like, no, there's far too many for that, and he's like, okay, that could work, and then they just drill a hole in the fucking floor. Like the dynamic between Obi-Wan and Anakin was like my favorite part of that entire movie. Like even a prequel trilogy is probably, other than Maul, is like one of my favorite things, and absolutely. I think Ewan and Hayden really fucking nailed that. As Hayden didn't nail a lot of things, I think circumstances kind of sucked on that.
Yeah, I feel like that was the first time that George Lucas just kind of like fucked off and like let him act.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then that's Grievous's first entrance in the movies. A really loud ambulance just went by.
Another drive-by.
Oh God!
Grievous was so cool in concept, but like, what does he do in this movie?
Very little.
Yeah.
Very little.
He's big in the Clone Wars, but he almost suffers from like this Boba Fett type thing where he's a badass, but you just don't really get to see him do a whole lot.
It's all in the extended media. Yeah, it's all in the other stuff.
Right? Yeah.
And he's got a really cool origin story, and like before Mace, if we're going with the canon that I think
Legends. It's not Legends.
When Mace crushed his shit, before that, he was terrifying. Like, actually terrifying. There was a scene, I know Trimmy knows this too, there's a scene where he murders the shit out of like what? It was like 7 or 8 Jedi, all like in a tight knit group.
I don't think he kills them all, but he beats the piss out of them. Like,
he kills most of them. I think he kills almost all of them.
Well, I meant like, I think Ki-Adi-Mundi's there. Like, he obviously doesn't die.
Yeah, Ki-Adi-Mundi is the last one standing by the time the ARC troopers arrive in that scene. Yeah. But going on, after they get to the separatist ship, one of my actual low-key favorite lightsaber duels.
I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah.
And the 1v1 after Obi-Wan is kind of taken out of commission. The 1v1 between Count Dooku and Anakin's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Does anybody else share that opinion?
Yeah, it's basically a reversal of what happened in Episode 2.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
badass. And the way when he kills him.
Yeah.
Fucking sick. Yeah.
Just the way that you can the audience can sense that it's turning when Anakin, like it does a close up of Anakin's face and it's like, and just fucking does an overhead, and that's when it fucking starts turning and chops both of his hands off, and then do it. So I expect Kade to pop in on this one, but my powers have doubled since the last time we counted.
My hate for sand has doubled since the last we met, Count.
No,
2 times 0 is still 2.
Thank you, Trimmy. That's what I was expecting you to say. 2 times 0 is still 0, kid.
So I have a question though. It might be newbie, but do people that have like a red lightsaber, like say Palpatine, do they end up getting it? Like, do they decide to get a red lightsaber after they turn sides? Yeah. Or something? So
it depends on the color of a lightsaber comes from the crystal you have in it.
Yeah.
They're called Kyber crystals. And Sith crystals, Sith lightsabers, first of all, sound different because they have and they're almost always red as well. They sound different because they're a synthetic crystal. Thank you. Yeah.
Whereas like all the Jedi go and like find their own.
Right. You have to find it. It's a part of your quest to grow out of the Padawan stages. Go forge your own lightsaber and find your own crystal. And there are natural red crystals. So there are some rare Jedi that have a red lightsaber that are on the good side. But for the most part, that's kind of where the red color scheme comes from.
See, I think that's bullshit because what I think is that when you're Jedi or Sith, you go to Jedi or Sith school, and when you get there, you put on a sorting hat, and the sorting hat decides what crystal you get, and then that's what you're stuck with. So
that's a good point.
Not to shit on you, Brent, but like that's how it is.
Okay.
Yo.
Okay.
Count Lightsaber straight up has always looked like a dildo.
What?
Count Dooku's lightsaber
Oh, yeah.
has straight up always looked like a dildo.
Hey.
It looks like the ball.
Careful.
part of-
That
The
is
curve
my
is
favorite fucking lightsaber handle in the entire franchise.
Really?
I love it.
It's
I think
cool.
that shit is super cool. It's curved. It has a blade on the end of it. I've always the sabers that Joe has in his room. They're like the expensive Force FX ones. I've always wanted a Count Dooku one, but it's the rarest one. It's like hella expensive.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's another
Sh-
thing.
and go ahead, Trey.
I was gonna say this movie doesn't do Count Dooku justice. He's the best
Yeah.
ruler like in the series.
Mm-hmm.
In the Clone
No, he's
Wars,
not.
who is it then?
Mace Windu.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mace Windu. Do you know why he has a purple lightsaber? In
It's
canon?
because he's dark and light side at the same time. Doesn't he pull
D-
from both?
Degen so.
No,
He adds
it's
four.
for pod. He invented so. All right. There are 7 forms of lightsaber combat for both the light side and the dark side. Okay, basically the dark side is going to use 1 through 7. Well, actually, most of the time it's just 2 through 7 for them, and then conversely, the light side uses 1 through 6. The 7th form is this one that's just like very like barbaric and very like just very it's not in tune with the way that Jedis usually do battle. And so there's a really cool arc. I think it's just in comics where Mace Windu and 2 other Jedi try and develop a Jedi version of the 7th form, which is the best form for like one-on-one combat.
Mm-hmm.
And the other 2 people who develop it basically go to the dark side, and then he kills them. And so he basically, in using that 7th form, does use part of the dark side, but he basically the reason he has that purple lightsaber is because he's the only person who's ever used that. He literally invented it. And then it symbolizes like his struggle with the dark side.
It's the reason why he was even able to go toe to toe with Palpatine. Palpatine is like incredibly skilled, but Mace Windu is just fucking a monster. He's a monster.
How did they shoe in all of? How did they shoe in like him being able to find a purple Geiger crystal though? Or did he just like somehow blend like a blue and red?
Kyber.
Actually, it's a good question.
Smoking a lot of dank.
So in the Jedi Council, you almost always just see blue and green. Blue lightsabers were for more like lightsaber / combat focused Jedi, and the green ones were more for like scholars. So within the Jedi, or like Force users also, but so like within the Jedi Council, and I guess like all of the Jedi at that time, they were only using blue and green. There were purple crystals, there are yellow, orange, and everything, but like just for the sake of like trying to figure out where people went, almost everybody was blue, green. There was a handful of yellows, which is kind of like an in-between, and then purple was a special one that Mace Windu got to have because he
pioneered a whole new style.
Other than maybe extended universe Luke, he's the best lightsaber duelist in.
Yeah, Count Dooku is a very close second or very close third.
He's up there. He's up there.
And because of the training that Qui-Gon got, because Qui-Gon was his Padawan, Qui-Gon was also a fucking beast too.
Yeah.
So
Well, apparently not. He got
I mean, Darth Maul was really fucking strong too. So it all kind of comes around.
Darth Maul used. I mean, so you got to think if you're Qui-Gon, you haven't seen a Jedi or a Sith your entire life, really. Like, so that was the first one that came in, and not only that, he's using the double blade. To be honest, he wasn't that good of a lightsaber duelist. He was pretty solid, but remember, he's one of the green ones, so he's more focused on like the Force stuff. He was the one who discovered Force Ghosts and stuff, so that's kind of like his thing.
He's more of the wise.
Yes,
he's a wise guy,
the scholar.
We could do
the run away from the droideka kind of Jedi.
Yeah, the guy with the midichlorian scanner.
Yeah,
that's what he does. That's his thing.
Who fixes mess?
But yeah, moving on into Revenge of the Sith. What else fucking happens in that movie? There's a lot that goes down.
A lot of things.
Mass shootings.
Yeah.
The whole thing on Mustafar is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Mustafar.
Yeah,
arguably, in my personal opinion, that movie has the best lightsaber duel in the series. Like, I think it's the most epic. The music.
See, Jake.
Let me guess, Darth Maul.
Darth Maul, Obi-Wan. Yeah. the best one.
If Revenge of the Sith wasn't so impactful and so epic and so long, it was a really fucking long. Yeah. So there were a couple of things that I do admit could have been cut out, like when they're swinging on the ropes and like they're balancing on the droids and the lava. Like, yeah, some of that stuff could have been cut out, but for the most part, it was just top tier.
The emotional scene when Padme said that Anakin was breaking his heart and cried.
Yeah,
that's the best acting in the prequels. That's the best acting. Like the last hour there. Like not only that, but like when she dies later, or Obi-Wan's little soliloquy there or whatever to Anakin. That's
only a Sith deals in absolutes,
which is in and of itself an absolute.
Yeah,
I always think that, except for me.
Yes, I'm different. I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah. Look at my cloak.
Yeah, he should have been like, "Man, your lightsaber's still blue. You can come back. Nobody will even know."
The other thing I really liked about the prequel Obi-Wan is that each of the 3 movies, they continuously made him look more like Episode 4 Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
and by the third one, he had like the short cut, the crew cut, and everything. Yeah.
The other thing we got to talk about is a tale that Jedi don't often tell.
Oh no. Oh no!
The tragedy of Darth against the wise.
Oh man!
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the Gear Wars.
Shut the hell up!
Yeah,
Darth Plagueis, though,
dude,
incredibly sick concept, and I really wish they would do more with that, but they just kind of abandoned the whole thing.
It's unconfirmed, but it's pretty much true that Darth Plagueis was the one who actually
impregnated.
Yeah.
Impregnated Anakin's mother on Tatooine.
Yeah,
was that? Did he also get someone to fuck Palpatine?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Give me that part of his plan.
Give me those black lips.
Is he from Exegol? Who in the Sith is from Exegol at this point? Do we have any?
It's the OG Sith planet. It's like one of the ancient ones.
The baby, of course.
The baby.
The man.
Fuck, dude.
I just one little thing to say is because we could go all day about the score for each movie. I think this movie has, I don't think it's one of the best in my opinion. I think it's the most underrated score or underrated song in the entire Star Wars franchise, and that's
Anakin and Padme.
Padme's Ruminations. There you go, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a banger.
That shit is haunting. Like that kind of comes out of nowhere too, because you have all these bombastic like fucking trombones and horns and percussion and shit, and then Padme's Ruminations is just haunting sounding shit. It's amazing.
Yeah,
really cool.
The score, man. Star Wars score is just
top tier.
Almost unparalleled. Yeah. Yep. It's so fucking good. I had a point that it was about fucking Order 66.
Oh yeah.
Can we talk about Order 66? That whole sequence.
Amazing. Yeah.
So heartbreaking and like fuck, man. For the longest time, Joe will remember this, but when we were in high school, I had my desktop screensaver. We all had school computers. My desktop screensaver was Anakin with his clone armada rolling up the steps of the Jedi Temple. Which so sick with his yellow eyes.
Did you notice? So there's a shot when they film that. So it films it from the top where Anakin's up front and then all the troops are behind him. They do that again in Episode 8, with where Kylo Ren is walking into the base at the very end. All the First Order troops are behind him. Very cool. I didn't notice that. I watched them all together like that.
Master Skywalker, what are we going to do?
And Anakin's like, let's go.
Let's fucking go.
I love, literally, there's probably among those kids, they're just like, oh my god, like we're so fucked. And then they see Anakin walk in. Oh, thank God, this Jedi Master's here. Oh my God. Okay, let's ask him what we're gonna do. And then he just get fucking slaughtered.
The hologram recording that Obi-Wan watched, where it's just Anakin just fucking up a bunch of kids, is messed up. Like
I thought he was just holding one and then
and he's oh my God, that's so brutal. It really shows
that would be a very fucked up thing to watch, like especially if it's like your fucking your Padawan doing this shit. Like you made him this way, Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
It's all your fault. It's all your fault, Obi-Wan. You could have done better, but you didn't. You suck. I'm just kidding.
Why didn't he just hand him a nudie mag? Just give him a fucking porno. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
Just let the dude fuck and everything's okay.
Yeah. Don't scold him for being horny. He's 16. God damn. Or how old was he in Attack of the Clones? It doesn't. It's not. It doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter.
It's a joke. Obi-Wan's awesome. It wasn't his fault.
This is another
love
hot take. If they're really in that situation where he knows that the childbirth is going to kill Padme, take care of the kid, before it gets any like this. She's clearly not that pregnant. That's all I'm saying.
What?
She's not that pregnant.
What decides if she's that pregnant?
If you knew the future was going to happen.
Star Wars is a pro-life fucking. Get out of here with that.
Oh my God.
That's a good point.
That is a very good point.
Much better to kill 2 fetuses than all the younglings. He's right.
So.
And then no one would know that you guys are together, and you could keep,
Yep.
Why didn't they just have Padme give birth in like a bacta tank or some shit?
Wouldn't that make sense?
Yeah. I feel like with the galactic medicine, whatever the fuck you call the future medicine of Star Wars, I feel like there was something they could have done.
She was like giving birth suddenly was the issue. Like it wasn't a planned.
She was under a lot of stress
because her heart was broken. That's right.
She was under a lot of
That
stress,
probably was
though.
a very stressful situation.
Mm-hmm.
I always liked the idea that like Palpatine was like somehow sapping her energy away to keep Anakin alive.
That's true.
Like trading, like a trade.
Yeah.
That's an interesting theory.
Yeah.
I dig that. But yeah, we talked about Order 66. Also another Mace Windu, right? The duel. Where I forget what their names are other than
alive.
Yeah. Kit Fisto was one of them.
Yeah, Kit Fisto is the only one of the names I remember of the squad of Jedi he rolls up with. They're all Jedi Masters, and Palpatine kills like 3 of them in 10 seconds. Like, yeah, I was always very bitter about that. Of that entire movie, that was one of the things that made me very bitter because Kit Fisto was sick.
No. Obviously, like Ian McDiarmid isn't like the one doing the choreography, but it's funny how like his face is kind of just like
yeah, they do it all the time. They do these like fucking face. Yeah, he's super old. His joints are clicking probably while he's fucking filming these. Mace Windu. Oh man, but yeah, cool battle. I really liked how like the window shattered, and that's where it kind of ended with the light. Yeah. Their swing kind of shattered that big ass window, and because they're so high up, like the winds are super strong. I just thought that whole sequence is really cool. And then heartbreak when Anakin fucking chops Mace Windu's fucking arms off, and then he gets shocked to death. Ripped to one of the coolest characters in the mythos for sure.
That's rough, buddy.
Yeah, that is it.
That's one way of going out.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I want to go someday. Have my arms cut off and then lightning out of the way.
Joe, you'd be in some cool ass shit if that's what happened to you. I would be right there with you, dude.
My tombstone would just be like a continuously replaying GIF of me getting murdered. It'd be like, I have no idea who this guy is, but that's fucking sick.
Which lightsaber was his? The one that said "bad motherfucker" on it.
That's great.
Every time I watch this movie, I always think Anakin's not going to turn because I've watched the Clone Wars. I'm like, this is a good person.
Yeah.
That is just under very unfortunate circumstances.
Right.
And he was heavily manipulated by 3 different parties.
Yeah.
If you count Obi-Wan as a part. Obi-Wan wasn't really manipulating him. He loved him like a brother. He loved him almost like a son.
Honestly,
so he was manipulating him for his own good.
To be honest, I feel like the problem is he was not manipulating him. He was, he was like, oh, you'll figure it out, Anakin. When
you always do. For all these crazy adventures we've had, you'll be good.
That's what Senator Pussy does to a motherfucker.
Nabooing pussy.
Number one.
You're my Naboo.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh no. Another one of the most striking scenes. Fucking Vader. The first time the armor is put together in the very first I'm talking about the when they're assembling him and the helmet first goes on. That part was like me was like, fuck.
That shit was cool until then Darth Vader was like, she was alive. I felt it. No. What the fuck?
I thought it was cool. That's the last time you hear emotion from Darth Vader.
Yep.
Like that when she dies, he dies. Like,
Anakin died with Padme. That's very true. Until Luke.
You could have done it. You could have done it a better way than just having him scream like his, like I don't know. It just it felt like with like you were saying, Brent. Like you had like all this cool shit and it was built up. You had like
and
the
then
ball
it fizzled
on the
out.
team, and then you
the
just
thing
missed.
Is, that's still right up until he learns that Padme dies. It's still Anakin. So it's like, what would Anakin if like imagine where if he doesn't get put into Darth Vader's suit, presumably Anakin would react something like that. You know what I mean? Like the version of Darth Vader.
Very emotional.
Yeah, the version of Darth
Vader. Wouldn't it have been like a little less cheesy?
You know what would have been really cool. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Jake. Sorry.
I just said, couldn't it have been a little less cheesy though?
And so I just
been less cheesy in the entire prequel trilogy. Yeah,
I just saw it like it.
I think it's on brand for who Anakin was at that time.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I think what would have been cool was like you had Anakin in his fucked up state, and then like you had Palpatine tell him, and then like he was like fucking like crying or whatever, and he's like all fucked, and then you put the mask on.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
Yeah,
I think in terms of how they did it with the no and everything was crushed, I think it would have been a lot better to pull like a Kylo Ren. It wouldn't obviously be a Kylo Ren if it was back in fucking 2003 or whenever that movie came out. But if he just whipped out his lightsaber and just started hacking shit to pieces, all the droids in the what?
He didn't have.
He didn't have the saber then. Oh, okay. He built that afterwards. That's right.
So hey, Palpatine, can I borrow yours real quick?
Yeah. Goes hard.
And also enough, Palpatine has 2 lightsabers.
Yeah, he does. One in each sleeve, like a boss, like an Assassin's Creed boss.
Oh, hell yeah! But I do really like Revenge of the Sith, though.
I think it's the strongest of the prequels. Sorry, Jake.
Jake heavily disagrees, but I agree with you.
Everyone hates 1 and 2 so much, and it's like, yeah, but 3's good. But I think they're all pretty similar on that level.
Yeah,
right. I think 2 is noticeably worse than 1 and 3, but I do agree with you. They're all in that same kind of campy spot.
Because you had that just a blossoming love story in the eyes of George Lucas, and George Lucas is this fucking robotic,
robotic mind.
In terms of world building, I think the prequel trilogy did more not only for Star Wars but for the MCU would not be what it is if not for the prequel trilogy being made like that. But yeah, I think if people are going to complain about it, it's the writing and
George Lucas is really good at structure. He's not good at dialogue, and that's what really tanked in all of the prequels. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Final thoughts: Revenge of the Sith.
I want to say a final thought on the prequels as a whole.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. People were jerking off about Baby Yoda. Where is that respect for fucking Yaddle? That's what I want to say.
Yaddle.
Nobody fucking talks about
Yaddle.
Isn't that the female Yoda?
It is.
Female Yoda. She's on the council the whole fucking time. Do you know what Yoda's species is? Do you know what the name of Yoda's species is?
Yoda's?
Yoda's species.
I fucking knew it. You told me before.
Yaddle's in there. Nobody talks about Yaddle. There's a very interesting comic book series about how Yoda came to be like in the what do you call it, like the central system or whatever. But like even in that, they don't really talk about his species that much. All we know is that they're force sensitive, and that's it. And it's him and Yaddle, and nobody gives a flying fuck about Yaddle. There's nothing about Yaddle.
Yeah,
That's hilarious. I did not remember her in the series at all. Still not looking at it.
George Lucas dropping the ball.
Yep.
There's a bunch of different species on the council. Like there was that one guy that was like serpentine. He looked like a bunch of tree roots like coiled up. His hands were all fucking weird and stuff.
I'll say this about the prequel trilogy. It might not be the best, but at least there was like a beginning, a middle, an end, like a plan.
It actually it feels like real Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah. Just a heads up, that's a nod at the sequel trilogy. It didn't have that.
Little bit of foreshadowing on that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
So, that pretty much wraps up the prequels.
I'll give it a solid round of applause.
Yeah.
It was there, and it certainly existed.
Definitely.
So,
You can argue with that.
I grew up on him.
We did get r/prequel memes out of this whole ordeal.
All right,
This is
here's
true.
my gripe with that. Prequel memes
My
started out
goodness,
as
Eddie,
having fun at the prequels, and now people act like they're the best fucking movies in the world.
It's
I feel
true.
like it's like borderline sarcastic. Like, I mean, obviously, like I love like the prequel memes community is hilarious, and I feel like it set the precedent for a lot of like these like niche meme community types of things.
oh, subreddit. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like I follow like r/Titanfall, and they try and do memes all the time, and it's like kind of funny, but it's like not
Yeah.
so good on that.
Yeah. So we're rounding off the prequel trilogy. Joe, do you have any interesting topics to talk about before we go on a commercial break?
Well, I think I've done my Yaddle thing. I've told you all about the bullshit that R2D2 gets. I think for now, I'm going to shut my mouth and save some of my other soapboxes for later.
Okay. All right. Enjoy the commercial from our sponsors. And we are back. Welcome back, everybody. It's the May the 4th special. Happy Star Wars Day. We are continuing the discussion with the original trilogy, the babies, the good stuff, the Cubans. If
Did you say
will.
the baby?
The Mark Cubans?
The baby, yeah.
Did you say the baby?
Let's go.
Yo, is that
Let's
the baby?
go.
Lil Baby?
Lil
No.
baby.
Lil Nas Babe.
Who would win in a fight? Never mind. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. We're not going to do that. I
Okay.
immediately regretted
A
saying
Jedi
that.
Council with rappers.
I like this.
It'd be an entertaining series. I'd watch it.
Snoop Dogg definitely got to be in there.
Isn't
I
that
feel
just
like-
Shark Tank with P. Diddy?
I think
Excuse me.
Wasn't P. Diddy on like Shark Tank?
I
at
don't
one
think
point?
you're wrong, honestly. I feel like I've seen that.
I would be
I was like,
I
surprised.
swear that was a thing.
I feel like
All
Must
I
be a
know-
Mandela effect.
All I know is that Lil Wayne would not be allowed in the council, and every time he asked, they'd be like, "Please stop asking us, Lil Wayne."
No, he'd be Yaddle. He'd be like in the background, and they'd be like, you know, there's actually Lil Wayne on the council, and he'd be like, no way. There's no way that anyone else from Lil Wayne's species is on the council. And he'd be like, yeah, I'm sitting over there.
That's very
I
true.
got the midichlorians, baby.
But Yahweh is a babe.
I got
Jay-Z
the
would be like the Mace Windu. He'd just
Yeah.
be like,
Oh
no.
yeah.
You can't do that shit around here.
And we're back. Welcome back. Yeah, Star Wars Day. Let's fucking get it. We are continuing the discussion with Episode 4, A New Hope.
Worst in the series.
The fuck?
I'm fucking
The
with you.
Get the
fuck?
fuck
fucking
out of
with
here.
Leave.
My ass before you come at me with that take. Fuck you.
To be honest, I think there's something to be said. The series has grown a lot from episode 4. If I was an 8-year-old child right now, I would probably not like episode 4. And I think there's a
Agreed.
little bit of fairness in that because the production quality is fucking night and day.
Yeah.
Literally,
But-
amazing ones.
But the storytelling is, I think, a lot better. in the first one too. You get those moments of Luke looking off into the moon. That's going to be one of the key shots no matter what happens.
Yeah. You get the binary sun theme, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Probably one of the best score moments.
Yeah. That's like, if you go look at film history, that's definitely it.
Oh, for sure. Sure.
This is arguably my favorite out of the entire franchise.
Really?
A New Hope.
Same.
It's the one that started it all. Yeah, the production quality is doo-doo, but it had to introduce so much, and it did so well at introducing all of these factors
On such a low budget.
On such a low budget too. You can fucking tell. And of course, like with like Empire, like you were saying, the production quality is night and day.
Night and day.
But you had to start somewhere, and they started with so little. And if you just look back and you compare the two, yeah, Empire looks better, but New Hope just flows for me. Like it's the one I watch the most. It just flows, man.
100%. And George Lucas also a fucking baller in how no one wanted this. They went way over budget, and he traded all of his money in this movie for the
merchandising. Yep.
And what a fucking genius!
Fucking biggest 900 IQ play.
Yep.
Yeah. Probably. Like that was
imagine those executives like, okay, you idiot.
So I
just signed away $4 billion.
So I like I did like during college, like I wrote a paper of George Lucas and how he like wrote and did his whole business dealings and such. Because of the deal, the Disney execs were like laughing at the call when he signed the paperwork saying like, yeah, I want 75% of the, or I think it was 75 or 85% of the merchandising, because they wanted the digital rights of the movies, because that was making the money at first, and then and then George Lucas obviously said, yeah, I want 75 to 85% of the merchandising. Then you just hear one of the execs just busting out laughing. He's like, yeah, we'll take that. $4 billion. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Fucking A. You're right, Jake. That is a fucking big boss moment. Like, changed the course of film, in my opinion. Like, Star Wars is fucking astronomically huge now. You're muted, buddy. There you go.
Right,
what were you saying?
I also love like 70s movies in general. And if you look at like a lot of them, they're very like dark, cynical, like fuck the establishment, like Taxi Driver kind of movies. And it was Rocky and Star Wars that were kind of like the more basic, like simple, good guy wins. But like there's something to that too if you stay on target. I did that with this one.
Yeah, except Rocky didn't win.
No.
No, but it won Best
Won the
Picture.
moral victory.
Yeah, he did.
Moral
Yep.
victory.
It was a moral victory.
Yeah, it was a feel-good tone.
Shout outs to Sylvester Stallone.
I think, Star Wars did a ton, we could probably have an entire podcast about the influences of this lone movie, like what they did. The concept of a movie franchise is totally different without Star Wars. I think like science fiction popularizing that is totally different without Star Wars, because before then you had Star Trek, which was like, I mean, today is still pretty, like, I would argue, like, semi-niche, whereas like Star Wars is like something that a lot more people can enjoy anyway.
Yeah, back then they had like Westworld and Planet of the Apes. But
2001, Star Trek on TV.
That's true.
I still haven't seen 2001. That's hilarious.
That's quite the movie.
Another thing about this movie for like long-term things is in writers like things, when they explain Joseph Campbell's circle of how a story is supposed to go, they always reference like
Luke
this
Skywalker.
this story as the one that's like the inciting incident is him leaving the farm, and
it literally follows
the journey to the west,
it's
right?
kind of
Right.
basic, but he stayed on target and followed the rules and paid off.
Yeah.
I heard Joseph Campbell himself was actually a huge influence on the script for Star Wars. That's what I've heard.
That wouldn't surprise
Yeah,
me.
he was co-writing or made the whole hero's journey.
Yeah, so he wrote that was right when he released the hero's journey, and then
That explains
and then
that.
George Lucas it was heavily influenced from that.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hey Joseph, you take the dialogue. I'll do the structure," and that's why
I'm just gonna add some space opera-y shit to what you wrote, and billionaire.
And then there's this guy named John Williams. I really think we should bring him in.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what I think John Williams had a career before this, but that's pretty much what kickstarted John Williams into mainstream.
Oh yeah.
Also, blockbuster Steven Spielberg with Jaws. It was Jaws, Rocky, Star Wars that really got the box office, everyone flooding that in the 70s.
Yep.
And then that led way to the 80s, which was sequels. We'll get to that.
Right.
There's going to be a bit of a tangent, especially since I praised the fuck out of this movie. The one thing that straight up blows in this movie is the fucking lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
The spin always gets me.
I'm just like, oh god.
It's crazy that we had a discussion however long ago about the 7 forms of lightsaber combat, and this is why the Darth Vader's lightsaber is red and why Obi-Wan's is blue, and when they were coming up with that shit, they had no fucking idea.
No fucking idea.
They're like, make it look good. Here's your laser sword. Go make it look good. And that was
George Lucas didn't even know this was 4. He thought this was 1.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And so I think, again, I don't. I think the original trilogy is the best. Obviously, 4 holds a special place in my heart. But I think Kemper, he made a joke, but I think there is a point to be made here that
there's some truth.
There's some truth. If you go back to it, it's hard. If you're watching it in order, you go 1, 2, 3. There's this crazy lightsaber battle where they're doing flips and swinging on ropes and shit, and then they're like,
you forgot the spin move.
The other thing too, though, it does still hold up on the final space scene when he shoots the thing.
Yeah.
Into it. And that was something that people hadn't seen at the time. That was a mind fuck moment in
Very
the
true.
audience.
We're glancing over a crucial portion of this movie. Fucking Han Solo.
Yes.
The man himself. One of the coolest character entrances to this day I have yet to see. That fucking badass sexy smuggler,
yeah.
That man.
Here's a question I want to throw out real quick.
Han.
Would you rather be Han or Luke?
Luke.
I'd take
Luke.
Okay, fine.
You're definitely going to want to say Luke in that scenario.
Oh.
Fuck Han. Fuck
Force is
Han
overrated.
Solo.
He's got a gun.
Okay. Okay, but Han gets puss.
Yes.
Han does get the puss.
Han gets puss.
But you could just be
When you're Luke, you get your sister. That's what happens.
so does Han. But with Luke,
Luke is from
you could be
Southern Tatooine. Who cares?
Yeah.
suck me.
And then she has force powers to be like, no, you.
And you 69. Skywalker 69ing.
What are you doing, step bro? Why do you have your lightsaber out?
What are you doing, step Jedi?
Oh, man.
Oh my god.
Yo, Han did not actually shoot first.
Yes, he did.
Oh,
In the original shot, he didn't. Or it appears that he did anyway, even though he totally fucking did. It just happened so fast.
He fired first. He thought about it first. No, but funny thing, we were I thought of this while we were talking about episode 1, but it's something that kind of George Lucas kind of put in on the side. But the kids that are hanging around Anakin for the pod race, do you guys remember that? How there's like a bunch of children around and shit. Greedo, the guy that Han Solo killed, was one of those kids. The green dude with the
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
He's a
Rodian.
Rodian. Yeah, thank you, Jay.
I don't know if that was him.
No, I didn't. George Lucas did say that was Greedo. and that was Tatooine. So
Yeah.
and I always thought that was kind of a
Anakin probably got him addicted to betting on pod races.
He probably did. He probably won a fortune on that one race. He's like, I'll get it this time. I'll get it every time.
Like,
Fixing the game over there.
he's
Rolling dice.
bet that I was covering.
Yeah. Also, rip to the guy that got his arm chopped off for talking out of turn.
He doesn't like you.
Yeah. I don't like you either.
I don't like you either.
I like
That's
how
one of my favorite. That might be my, like, I don't know, maybe not my favorite, but definitely like one of the lines that I quote the most from.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't like you
either.
Oh, the band just.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Hey,
Play the same song.
It's jizz.
yes,
Man, all right.
that genre of music is jizz.
It's jizz.
It's jazz with an I. Look it up right now.
Oh
He's
God.
not wrong. He speaks
Star
English.
Wars.
I know he's right. I am well aware
I'm not
that
gonna
he's correct.
Google jizz.
No, Google Star Wars jizz. They'll know.
That's
what
also not a good idea.
I'll do it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Kemper's got us on lockdown.
R34 shit.
But on that note, the cantina sequence is fucking awesome.
Yes.
I love Mos Eisley Cantina. The music, the vibe that you get in that dark ass fucking
I wanna
dungeon
be
of a bar.
The
Yeah, I want to
dive
go.
bar. I
Yeah.
want to do some cantina karaoke.
Yeah, I want to smoke out of a laser hookah.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck
dude.
yeah. Yeah.
I want to sit in a corner booth and just rip death sticks and like and talk about pod races and shit with the
Fucking
boys.
blow Rodian brains all over the wall.
I like how we
Yeah.
just put the coin. It's like, yeah, sorry for the mess. Like that's really just a normal thing in this kind of establishment.
The janitor's
I
like,
mean-
you know what? Fuck you, dude. And he's got like a mop.
Yeah.
I like the idea
Goddamn
of
it,
a,
Vaughn.
I like the idea of a Star Wars janitor that has to go around and clean all this shit up. That kills me.
Robot
He's the guy who's like he's like a slug alien and like he leaves a trail behind so like he has to clean up his trail but then he has to go back and clean up the trail. That guy.
The never-ending job, that would be torture. That's obviously one of the 7 gates of hell,
No,
without a doubt.
Have you seen the robot chicken where it's like the janitor in the pit?
No.
With the hand.
Yeah, where the hands and like Darth Maul keep falling down. He's like, "What the?"
There's a Family Guy skit for the Blue Harvest special that they did for the Star Wars episodes. And when Chris/Luke gets his hand cut off and it falls down, Chris like follows it down. And he goes, "There's a janitor standing there." He's like, have you seen a hand fall through here?" And he's like, "Nope." And there's a giant imprint of a hand over his dick in his pants. He's just like, "Nope." And then he just falls again. I love that.
Like the one where it's just like the two dudes in the Empire, like for the laser, and just
Oh,
like,
I
yeah,
was gonna mention that.
oh, I just want a rail.
The tractor beam.
Yeah.
That there was a lot of creative stuff with those. So what else about New Hope? We get the Millennium Falcon,
Mm-hmm.
the fucking greatest spaceship in fiction. Is that a hot take? Is that a hot take?
That's
No.
not.
No.
That's not a hot take.
No. Okay, good.
No.
Because I wholeheartedly believe that.
It did the Kessel run in 14 parsecs.
I don't even know what that is, but it sounds cool.
It's fast.
Yeah.
It's a unit of fucking
Watch
measure.
Solo.
It's a unit of light.
I saw
It's a unit of
I saw that they
Solo.
did the Kessel Run.
Watch
Well,
Solo.
I still gotta watch Solo, so that's on.
You gotta watch
Solo.
Solo.
Solo's good.
I'll never watch Solo.
I like Solo.
It's not that bad.
It's
Solo.
going to be the
I'm
worst.
on
It's
Solo.
better than Rogue One. I didn't like Rogue One that much.
Rogue One.
A lot of people.
It felt
are
more
fooled
Star Wars to me than most of the new movies. Sorry, Trimmy, what were you saying?
A lot of people are fooled into liking Rogue One because of the ending. The ending's fucking amazing. Like the whole
Yeah.
final act is so good. But like,
Which
Yeah.
was reshoots, by the way.
Yeah.
really was
Yep.
They brought it in to do reshoots at the end.
Thank God for the reshoots. It
Never
was going to be
gets
worse than
right.
that. Holy shit. But Donnie Yen was my favorite part of Rogue One. We're not talking about Rogue One, though. We're talking about episode 4.
Focus here.
Let's focus a little
But
bit.
wait. Darth
Rogue
Vader.
One leads into
Darth
episode
Vader in the hall.
We're not that far off.
Yes, preach.
Kemper, one of the sickest things I have ever seen.
Oh, that was a movie.
Ever. Yeah. One of the sickest things I've ever seen was that scene with Darth Vader. For sure.
The fucking red lightsaber in the hall.
The sheer panic and terror of
them
the
trying to
soldiers,
get like the fucking hard drive out. Good God, that was so cool. Like, and that scene alone made the whole watch worth it. To be honest,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I agree.
The whole final act is good. Like, I agree with Truman. The whole third act of Rogue One's great. But sorry, that's my take on Rogue One.
All right, we're done with Rogue One. That's part 2.
Episode 4, Darth Vader, without using a lightsaber or that much besides force choke, is still really fucking intimidating in this movie.
That much of an imposing force. Yep.
He's got a lot of like words, and I know it's not James Earl Jones, but another person like doing a lot of acting.
David Prowse. The story of David Prowse is really interesting. David Prowse is the guy who's in the Darth Vader suit. He's obviously an absolute monster of a guy. Initially, he was going to do the lines, but he's like this Australian dude, and it just wasn't coming out right. And obviously, James Earl Jones gave that's the performance of a lifetime right there. So
yeah,
good choices. But there was some sort of an argument. For some reason, they just didn't really like him that much. Like George Lucas didn't, and it's to the point where in a lot of the when you watch the end credits roll, his name is not mentioned until way at the end. It's almost as if he's a stunt double. And when the cast was touring and stuff, he was never invited to come with, even though he's one of the things that they thought was that there was something with the reveal of the fact that Luke is Vader's son, that he didn't like the way that it was done and complained about it a little bit. And so that was part of it, but it was just this whole thing where they just did not like this guy. And it's only in the last 5 or 10 years that he's getting recognized as, again,
Vader.
Half of
Vader.
Yeah.
Another fun fact about Vader, George Lucas took heavy inspiration from my favorite villain of all time, Dr. Doom from Marvel. Heavily inspired by that character, so I always thought that was
Dr. Doom is pretty pretty cool.
Yeah, talking about a villain of fucking villains, but yeah.
A lot of
Vader
from Dune as well.
At Dune as well, yep.
Love me some Dune.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the right track at this year, right? Mm-hmm. He's reading Joseph Campbell, Dune, probably 2001.
Yes, definitely 2001 for sure. Yeah, and then we get onwards. Okay, Kemper, what are you doing? Boo. He's really tired, guys. Tune into the YouTube to see what he's fucking doing. So we go on to the final act of A New Hope. Obviously, there's the scene with the Death Star, where that's not a moon, that's a space station.
That was a huge reveal.
Boom,
huge reveal. Love it.
How about that bamboozle that they did, hiding in the floorboards?
Oh, get fired.
Fucking stormtroopers.
It's here, under the floor.
This also, speaking of that, Jake, thank you. This also established the fact that all stormtroopers are legally blind.
And
literally fucking blind and stupid.
Shit out of themselves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Am I hitting him? But yeah,
Boba Fett the same type of clone?
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
So go ahead, Joe.
Okay. Well, yeah. So it's interesting too, because at this point, not everybody was a clone. There were actual people, but so the the clone army that we see in the prequels is they were genetically modified to grow up really fast and to be super obedient, as well as a couple of other things too. I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, Brent, but yeah, Boba Fett was just a straight up clone who the idea is that Jango was going to raise him as his son. At this point in Star Wars Episode 4, there had been enough clones, as the Empire was kind of spreading out, they just didn't have enough clones to kind of continue that, so they started relying on a lot of slave labor and regularly conscripted people. So it was like half, it was like part clones and like part.
Which is what Finn technically was in the sequel trilogy. He was like one of those conscripted child soldiers, essentially. That's what he was, and raised as a stormtrooper.
What was that? What was that one guy, the child soldier guy, Coney 2012?
Oh my god.
Yeah, what a video.
Tarkin negative 2012 or something. I don't know.
No. Motherfuck.
Schools let that guy in. Like.
Nice camera.
Is that Kade's phone keep falling?
Yeah.
You should see my setup I have right now. Holy fuck.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
But yeah, so with the Death Star, we also get the aforementioned lightsaber duel between Vader and Obi-Wan.
Underwhelming lightsaber duel.
Incredibly underwhelming.
I mean, probably for the time was mind blowing. Like that might have been the first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely awful compared to any of the other ones.
I love how too the stormtroopers are just looking at this trash lightsaber fight, and they're all just like sitting there, like looking at this. And then Luke's like, "No!" And they're like, "Oh yeah, people.
Oh yeah,
Oh, there's guys over there. We should start missing them."
In their defense, they're probably underpaid.
Yeah, that's very true. They're probably not paid. It's the Empire we're talking about here. They're probably not paid very much.
Some clocking out.
Yeah. There's also the scene, speaking of dumbass stormtroopers, where C-3PO and R2 are in that like command center, and when they're all in the trash chute, when they're trying to fucking survive getting smushed, and there's a stormtrooper that walks into the room and just bonks his head on the top of the door, and they never removed it, and it makes me so happy every time I see it.
And later cuts, they added the thud.
Yeah,
when he hits his head. Yeah.
Love it. I love it so much. It makes me so happy.
Yeah. Excellent.
How about that trash shoot scene though? Speaking of that, anyone have any particular nightmares from that fucking monster that's in there?
I had wet dreams, baby, because that fucking Ashworm would grab me and suck me down, and then fucking Princess Leia's like fucking perked up titties would just pull me up to the surface and fucking milk me back to life, dude. Yeah, dude.
How about that scene too when Han Solo gave you a sexy voice? Like, no, how are you?
Yeah. I quote that all the time, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
No, everything's fine up here.
Everything's fine.
How are you? Pew, pew, shoots the table. That's
conversation anyway.
You gotta love Han. You can't not love Han. What kind of torture do you think they did to Leia? Do you know that needle that was like?
They made her do heroin.
Yeah, that's what I was fishing for, Jimmy. I was fishing for an answer like that.
They made her do space heroin.
They just gave her meth and cocaine in a fucking vial.
Worse than death sticks.
Yeah.
That's a death stick. They call that a death stick.
Yeah.
They just gave her a vial of red goo and like, drink this. Consider yourself interrogated.
You still got that bag I gave you? It's gonna be a long ride.
So then, moving on with the story, after Obi-Wan, sorry to interrupt you, Joe, but after Obi-Wan gets dusted, for lack of a better term, he just disappears into the Force. They escape the Death Star. They head to where is the Rebel base that they go to, Joe?
Yeah.
Thank you. And Luke, all of a sudden, knows how to pilot an X-Wing. So that's a thing.
Well, but he was a great pilot on
yeah.
He said, I'm a great pilot myself.
He bullseyed Womp Rats in Vader's Canyon. I mean,
yeah, the Womp Rats.
To slightly retcon this a little bit, he is Force sensitive. If anybody's going to be able to jump into a ship and be able to run
Very true. And he's Anakin's son, and as we mentioned before, Anakin was like the best pilot in the galaxy at the time.
Yeah.
So we get that epic fucking scene with the Death Star battle with the X-wings, and
It goes kaboom.
it goes kaboom.
Han gets to be a cowboy and says "Yeehaw!" And
Yeah.
Gotta love that scene.
split moment.
If you go back and watch that movie, the first guy in the X-wing rebel squad that dies is like this fat dude, this fat guy. Porkins, thank you. I couldn't remember his fucking name. And then the guy that when I was watching, what's his name?
Wedge Antilles. You're talking about
Wedge Antilles. Thank you. He is so sick, and seeing him in episode 9 to get off track, that was fucking awesome. But anyways, he is established as like this badass pilot as well, and he actually fucking survives all 3 movies of the original trilogy, which is astounding.
He's the Poe Dameron of the original trilogy, and you don't get to see him all out in any way.
Yep.
He's also huge. In between 3 and 4, he has both of the droids for quite some time. R2, or no, he has. No, maybe it is both of them. Wedge
R2.
Yeah.
But he's also Ewan McGregor's uncle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty sure he's related to Ewan McGregor, if I remember correctly. I don't know if he's his uncle per se, but I do remember something about
I believe you.
being familial related. How do we feel about wrapping up episode 4?
We could go all night.
It has a good ending.
Yes, it does. It does have a good ending with the medals.
The theme and the intro to the, exiting or closing title or whatever.
I think they did an excellent job of not only ending. So they ended it, and it was a solid ending. If it's just Star Wars and that's it and that's done, but clearly they ended it in such a way that more movies could be made, and so I think it's pretty. Again, maybe not the best of the original trilogy, but I think something should definitely be said, because that was the only one where they were really like, we have no idea what's going on here, but they were able to like really kind of nail the ending there, make it ambiguous. So
it's the OG.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, can't beat the classics.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, you can beat the classics, but the classic reinforces everything that comes afterwards, which is why it's so legendary.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 8 thumbs up out of 10 for me.
A what?
8
thumbs.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8. I'd give it a solid 8 for sure. Just for the legacy of it.
Yeah.
How much this franchise has fucking affected my childhood and forged who I am today. So we're gonna move on to episode 5, and I know for a fact that unanimously across the board, Empire Strikes Back is the GOAT. Am I wrong in this?
10 out of 10, end of discussion.
It's the fucking GOAT.
It's my favorite movie. In general.
Joe has something to say.
I personally, it's my second. Mm-hmm.
I feel what? Huh? I feel so betrayed.
I'm gonna go shit.
I'm gonna shit myself.
Yeah.
Why is it the second?
Well, give me some reasoning.
Well, clearly, episode 6 is my favorite. Episode 6 is my favorite. Part of it, so for me, it's a lot of it. I'm aware is nostalgia. Episode 5 is the best movie, right? Episode 6 is my favorite Star Wars movie. That's just where I'm at. The finality of episode 6, the character arc of Luke coming to fruition, the first green lightsaber we get to see. The first one, the first lightsaber throw. We see some Force jumps. We see some Boba Fett. We see the whole scene on Endor. The whole scene on Endor is pretty sick too.
Ewoks be damned.
Ewoks, boy.
Yeah, we'll get to episode 6. Yeah, we'll get to episode 6 shortly. So don't bust your wad on the Ewoks just yet.
All I'm saying is episode 5 is no Phantom Menace.
God damn it, Jake. So we open up episode 5 on Hoth, and I still think it's one of the most thrilling sequences and some of the best music. Just all around banger of a fucking opening to my favorite Star Wars movie.
In there too.
Yeah. Yep. He calls him a nerf herder. First time we get the best insult.
Yeah. maybe the best battle scene. I guess like certainly when I was a kid, but definitely one of the best battle scenes I can remember in movies, and especially as a child who grew up in the North. Fucking, if it was snowing outside, baby, it was Hoth Day outside.
Yep.
You know,
We were riding tauntauns.
There was to capitalize off of what Joe says, there was a big snowstorm one year in Portland, and in Portland we're not used to that much snow, so everyone on the highway, there's like a bajillion crashes, and people were posting memes of how it looked like a bunch of AT&T walkers were on the highway.
I love it. First time you see AT&T walkers too.
Yep.
It's 18.
I just said AT&T walkers. Don't mind me. I'm
here's our
fucking
second,
tight.
here's our second commercial break. AT&T, go.
Shut up, Joe.
phone.
Best phone service around. Please don't kill us.
Verizon is just going around them fucking.
Shoot the grappling hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the grappling hook scene. The snow speeders are sick. You get the tauntaun scene with Han and Luke. The snow cave with the
Wampa.
The Wampa. Thank you. Yeah.
Something interesting. The Wampa scene had to be written in because Mark Hamill was in a car accident right before, fucked his face all up, and so like they wrote that in there because all of his the scars that he had were not from a car accident; they're from the Wampa.
Right.
But it was a cool scene.
It was definitely a cool scene. And then I thought they smelled bad on the outside. you get that scene too. So.
Han establishes himself as a real bro, cutting open the tauntaun,
for sure, and shoving his buddy in there.
This may smell good, but it'll keep
pretty
you warm.
pretty freaking graphic too for the time. That scene still sticks out to me when he cuts it open. That still sticks out to me. So also something that also sticks out to me is a sound that comes from that opening sequence, and it's the drone on Hoth, the you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Joe, our resident sound effect man. Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear. But yeah, so another cool thing I thought about Hoth, now that I was just thinking about things that I really liked, was how the stormtroopers looked. Like that, the stormtroopers had noticeably different gear on because it was like fucking frigid.
Dude, that wardrobe department had no business coming in here and being like, everywhere these stormtroopers go, they're gonna get a different outfit.
Yeah.
And it was fucking awesome.
Pretty cool.
So cool.
They did.
So
cool. When I was playing Battlefront as a kid, and even nowadays with like the new Battlefronts that Blizzard or I can't. Yeah, thank you. They just like bring back those iconic suits, and I always remember like the weird outfits they have per planet, like the forest troopers with the speeders had the cool like unique helmets and all these other like really cool suits. That always stuck out to me. I really like the whole clone / stormtrooper aesthetic for the armors. Not so much the actual forces themselves because they can't hit shit.
No.
No.
One of the worst armies imaginable.
only the 501st. They were the only anything.
Rip. Best clone troops.
Okay, here's my question. How come when Obi-Wan and Mace Windu and all these Jedis lead the clones, they're like super skilled and badass, but the second they fall under Darth Vader's management, they just can't hit shit.
Well, like Joe said, like they aged rapidly, the clones. So by the time the Empire was really rolling around, the stormtroopers
So they were like used iPhones.
Right. Exactly. They had forced fucking shutdowns. Like we cannot. What would you say?
But wasn't it the stormtroopers like actual people joining?
Yeah.
The Empire, because that's why it was.
They had
such a
multiple
difference.
sources of soldiers. Yeah. Multiple sources. But yeah, the clones were literally clones of Jango Fett. That's why they kicked so much ass, and like they were highly trained from birth.
Mhm.
So, and with a Jedi leading them, they were a fucking force to be reckoned with. That's why I love the clones. The clone army is so sick. Oh yeah, but going back to Empire again, we keep getting fucking off track. What do we think about like the Dagobah?
Dagobah was
That's
The Dagobah
Dagobah is
system.
so great.
Yeah,
the
fucking
swamp.
seems great.
swamp scene. We get a cool R2 when he gets launched out of the fucking water.
I'm usually not one to nitpick, but like, how the fuck, like, what are the chances of him crash landing on this huge ass planet and then running into the one person he was looking for?
that he needs to find.
Literally right
Very
next
sad.
to where his ship crashed.
It's
The Force wills it.
The Force wills.
Force.
Right. One thing I really dig about Empire, Empire, it's kind of like pretty low key and you don't really notice it, but Luke has a fucking gun.
Yeah.
True.
And he carries
right.
it almost the whole movie. And like that's something that always stood out to me. Like, yeah,
He's got
If he needs it.
he has a lightsaber and a gun. That is way better than just a lightsaber.
Fucking
Yeah.
dick on.
You know he got that motherfucking thing on him.
He's got a fucking piece, a hot iron.
Big iron.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't help him though. He gets fucked.
You're right. No, he doesn't help him at all against Vader. But that always stood out to me. Like, man, that's really cool that Luke has a fucking gun in this movie because you never see that again, other than like A New Hope when he didn't know shit.
Yeah.
But now is the time, boys, to talk about Yoda. Our lovable
Gangsta.
our lovable hand puppet old man Yoda.
He's
Yoda's
very
pretty
grumpy
cool.
in this one. Yeah. Food.
Yeah. He's very, very old.
Very
Very old.
starts stealing Luke's food, his snacks.
Yeah. Well, he's just trying to be a fuck intentionally because he wants somebody who's patient, unlike Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
He's fucking high on ketamine. Leave him alone.
and not dirty.
That's one of my favorite memes, Trumi, where they went into the Wikipedia page or whatever. Or no, it's the Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's a real
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia is the Star Wars. Yeah,
That's
it's a
the
real.
Star Wars
Gotcha.
wiki.
Somebody went into an online encyclopedia page of Yoda, and they put on there that he's like a serial killer and ketamine addict. And then it like under weapons, it's like 1994 Honda Civic lightsaber, and then like the description is like it's like Yoda was a notorious ketamine addict and crack dealer back in whatever, who is known for doing ketamine and running people over in his 1994 Honda Civic.
I wish that was his real origin, please. That would be amazing.
Found it in order.
Yeah, and then the Jedi Order took him in, and that's how he turned a new leaf.
Basically Osho.
Yeah. I love it. And then we get the side adventure to Bespin with Han, Leia, and Chewie.
Before that, there's the fucking asteroid worm that they landed.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Where they're flying, then that whole part where they're flying through the fucking asteroid field. That's pretty awesome.
Yep, that's right. Really cool space sequences. More Millennium Falcon, which is always good. More Han Solo, which is always amazing.
Not gonna bitch about that.
Never gonna bitch about that. With Chewie, and then we got Leia being, she's flirting. She's flirting a little
And
bit.
they added enough there to when he gets frozen in carbonite, it actually means something when he's going
Right.
down in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know. I love you.
And that was
That's a
improv,
boss
too.
scene.
Solo.
Yeah,
That's one of the most baller lines.
it really is.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And didn't Harrison Ford like that? That's originally like he was just gonna die after that.
Yeah,
Like,
I believe so.
And then they just pulled Psych and said, "You're coming back for the next one."
For an excellent opening to another film.
They left the door open though,
Mhm.
putting him in Boba Fett's.
Mm-hmm.
Slave One, baby.
And they did the whole Jabba thing. Like they alluded to Jabba in episode 4. Like that's why. That's
No,
why he
you
won.
see him in episode 4. when
in the recuts, right? Like the re
one as well. It's just really poorly done in the original one. When he goes back to the ship,
I haven't seen the OG cut in so long. It's been so many years.
Yeah, I think you only see him the one time, but that that was important because that sets up the why he wants to leave in 5, and because doesn't he also leave briefly in 4 as well?
Yeah,
and that comes back. So that's pretty important
because he wanted to give that money back to Jabba. That's right. It's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts before we start closing out on Empire? The GOAT, the true GOAT. No matter what Joe says.
Force Nexus. That was awesome. Where he fights the Darth Vader underneath.
Lando Calrissian is an awesome side character. It's like, sup guys?
Yep.
Billy D. Williams plays. Yeah, Bespin is sick too. Yeah. Bespin's like definitely one of the ones that'd be cool to see a little bit more of because it's like a gas planet and there's like all these like floating things up top. But there's just a lot of like really interesting, like the little like the fucking like the stupid ass 2-car like spaceships that they have.
Fucking dumb as hell. What the hell are those?
Yeah,
that always fucking stood out to me too. And then we get this sick fucking scene that I always think about whenever I think of like Vader, where they open the door and Vader's standing there because Lando fucking betrayed him, and Han shoots him, and he literally just puts his hand up and blocks it, and then yoinks the gun out of his hand. That shit is hot fire.
Mm-hmm.
That the light
hot fire when they're putting his face by
on the needle bed.
Yeah. The lightsaber battle in episode 5 is maybe the most mind-blowing of the lightsaber battles because that was the first. Again, we go from to like full on like jumping all over and kicking, and the part where Luke has the steam thing and he like shoots it all over him, and it's like the shots
that they have of the colors. With all the
it was all in the dark too. Most of it was in the dark as well.
Incredible.
And then Vader starts yucking shit at him, just hucking fucking boxes and all kinds of shit.
I like in the Family Guy version where they're fighting, and then they have car coming. We're clear. And then they just fucking fight.
I love that. And then we get the scene. And does anyone want to enlighten me on what scene I'm talking about?
The reveal.
The big fucking reveal.
I have to say, I feel like I know, like at least for me, it's just it's like part of pop culture. Like everybody knows that like Vader is Luke's dad, right? So the most fun I ever had watching that. Sorry, Tim.
Damn.
The most fun I ever had watching that scene was I introduced my little sister to Star Wars, like just by playing the video games and stuff. So she just knows like who the characters are, not what their relations are. And so we watched through 4 and then we watched through 5, and she had no idea that like Luke was Vader's son. It was so cool, like to see like what people probably
someone's reaction.
Yeah. So it's a really powerful moment for sure, and definitely changes the course of the, because it's like up to that point, again, if you go back in time and you try and imagine what would the world look like if I didn't know that was Luke's dad, you don't give a fuck, man. Fuck that guy. Fuck that asshole, dude. He just cut his fucking hand off. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
And and again, it sets up a lot of like the struggles that Luke has to go through at the end of that movie and in 6 of like killing his dad.
Right, cool. Not having a hand anymore.
Dude,
yeah.
It's 50% more difficult to wank it.
Yes,
he lost his good hand.
Yeah.
and it also mirrored Anakin, which I thought was also very cool.
Yeah.
How Anakin lost his hand, and technically in the prequels, Anakin mirrored Luke because those movies came way before. But
either way,
canonically.
Like you were saying, Joe, about like seeing your sister's reaction. There's a really, really cool video on YouTube I recommend watching. It's a super rare footage of one of the opening nights for Empire, and you get a theater reaction.
That's sick.
and it's actually really really cool. Like you could tell it's like super old timey, and like it's
Send
just
me the link to that shit if you find
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I'll watch
I think
that.
looks like Joe's already on it. I can look too,
Joe's on Hacker Man on his monitor.
but it's a really cool watch.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that kind of closes out Empire. Surprisingly, there wasn't a whole lot to say about Empire because of how fucking awesome it was.
There's really
which is
nothing
kind of
to
the
be
opposite.
said.
Right, it's so good. What were you saying, Jay?
That Shrimi pointed out to me. One of the best musical cues comes at the end of Empire when Han and Leia Leia and like 3PO and the Wookiee here. You should say it, Trimmy.
Yeah, when I was gonna say, like, in general, I think this movie has the best music for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have the AT-ATs coming up, and that really upbeat music. You have the asteroid field, which is the big sweeping score, which it gets redone in Solo, and I always liked that.
Mm.
And then you have what were you saying?
Go ahead, Trimmy.
And then you have the escape from Cloud City, which I just think is amazing.
That's a good one.
Honestly, it like gives me chills every time. It might be like my favorite piece of music in a movie ever. I think it just makes the scene.
Yeah.
Well, how good it is, like them escaping and the timpani at the end. Ugh, we love it.
Right. But what's the sound cue Jake was referring to?
I don't know if there's like a sound cue per se. Jake, what was I talking about?
I think it's the escaping from Cloud City one when they're like leaving, and there's one. It's like right when they leave and go on to the Millennium Falcon.
Gotcha.
But it's a like when I watched it, like Tarian pointed out to me that like that scene is like has like a really good music score, and then I watched it again and I'm like, yeah, that's. Like that is some of the best music that they have in Star Wars is in that scene.
Another shouts to John Williams. I mean, we're just gonna keep doing that.
There's nothing more to be said, but we're gonna keep saying more about John Williams and how fucking amazing he is. But yeah, let's close out Empire. Like I said before, not much more to be said. That movie is fucking legendary, always will be. And so we'll move on to Episode 6, Return of the Jedi.
Ooh.
Boom.
I'm waiting for Joe's take.
Yeah, I was about to say, Joe, I figured you would just take the reins right there.
Well, so again, for me as a child, I think that Episode 6 is my favorite. This was the one where just the finality of it all, just the end of evil, the actual destruction of the Death Star, the sort of redemption of Darth Vader, the green lightsaber, the fucking flips, the fucking Sarlacc pit, dude. It had everything. And I'm not gonna sit here and say, Episode 5 is the best Star Wars movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, other than if you had to poke holes in it, there's that like weird sort of like time thing, which I personally don't really consider it a factor, but that weird sort of time thing where he like becomes a Jedi Knight within like 2 weeks of training or whatever. In Episode 5. So if you want to complain about that, fine. But I think, there's not really that much to complain about 5. With 6, you start to see what Star Wars is going to become in terms of like the merchandising and the franchising, and then we're going to bring in Ewoks because they sell toys and stuff like that. And so, that's a little, I don't know if cheesy is the right word, but that's just a movie that I've always held near and dear to my heart. The end scene where like Vader is like stalking around, like he's like talking shit about Leia, and then the lightsaber ignites.
Yeah,
so many scenes like that from that movie.
The speeders,
the
speeders on Endor. Yep.
Yeah. So and that I think like when I think of 6 too, I was thinking of like that iconic shot of the lightsaber duel, and the green and the red lightsaber over Palpatine and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and argue. If you guys tell me why this is you're right, but it's my favorite. So fuck you.
I understand. I totally fucking understand. That movie is also very special to me, as is the original trilogy, all the movies technically. But I love the opening sequence of that movie.
Yes.
On Tatooine with Jabba the Hutt's palace. Like
Yeah.
that scene is fucking awesome, and it brought Han back into the fold, and it really like kind of led straight into it from Empire. And the fact that Lando was helping him, and it was just a really cool
It just
sequence.
didn't waste time or anything like that.
Right.
This is where Star Wars, I feel like, is at its best, right? Is where you have like these moments with like the Anakin and the Obi-Wan. They're like doing like they're fucking cool, man. You get the same thing with Luke and Leia and Han and Chewie and Lando. There's a shot in episode 9. We'll get to it then, but there's a couple parts in episode 9 that are fucking primo, where it's fucking Poe and Finn and Rey running around in the dreadnought together or whatever. Like that's awesome shit. When they're all together like that doing stuff, I think that's Star Wars at its peak, and this opening sequence is totally that.
Oh, for sure. And Han kills Boba Fett out of fluke.
Boba Fett, where?
He doesn't die, but you know what I mean. He blasts his jetpack and shout out to the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
When we were, this is a movie too that me and my friends always quote from high school. When we would go to mass at Catholic school, we'd always be like around, like, and we'd, that scene where they're all like looking at each other across things, like bum.
Yeah.
Like, music cue hits, and it's like cutting to all the different faces.
Yeah.
It was super fun.
I love that. And I'm just gonna get right into it. Slave Leia.
Oh my god, dude.
The legend. The original.
The amount of how much sperm has been ejaculated?
So fucking much.
Dude, to be honest, Leia in her fucking slave Leia outfit, she might be responsible for more ejaculate than fucking Riley Reid and fucking all them.
Oh yeah.
Like, because it's like you didn't have anything else to spank to at that point.
There was no internet.
Yeah.
That sticks with you. Like seeing that, like that shit sticks with you.
I was watching like making of kind of documentary of this, and it was like thing of George Lucas at the time when they were filming that scene. He's like, this is the third installment. The audience has gotten older, so Leia needs to be presented to an older audience.
Yeah. Okay, dude.
Fucking pimp pad here.
All the guys are like, I kind of agree. For sure that.
Guys.
Yeah. But I really like Jabba. I love the Rancor pit. Luke's entrance is fucking sick. Like I said, the whole opening sequence is fucking awesome.
And like not only like his entrance, like though obviously the whole part where the lightsaber shoots out and he fucking grabs it in the air.
Yeah.
But the whole part where he's literally walking into the palace is fucking fucking sick too, where he's just like whomp, fucking kills him, walks right down. He's like, yeah, whatever, capture me, bitch. See if I give a fuck.
I'm gonna kill this Rancor with the gate. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
That guy's gonna be really sad because I killed his dog, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm Luke Skywalker.
I'll fucking do it.
Yeah.
I'm here to rescue you.
And then like that scene brings Han back into the fold, and then they go to the Sarlacc pit, like all kinds of fucking shenanigans. Leia chokes Jabba to death. That scene was actually pretty brutal.
Yeah.
with the tongue that goes. Unless
you're into that.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're into
that.
Felt like.
Yeah. I'd say that's pretty fucking accurate. Also, last bit on Jabba, the fucking like little monkey thing.
Salacious meat crumb. Salacious meat crumb. I watched a porno one time, and this girl had a tattoo of Salacious meat crumb on her stomach. Still, the tattoo wasn't hot, but the girl was. Not even...
that's what you took
is
away
interesting.
from it.
That was the big takeaway from that porn. Okay.
I was like, oh, that's Salacious meat crumb.
Salacious become.
Yeah.
Please stop. Let's stop.
Like how many times has that thing fucking nutted on, dude? I don't even know.
What would it look like if she got pregnant? Like, what would it warp into?
I don't know, dude.
something. It would warp into Jabba.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's true. Dude, it'd be nice too, because like if you were like banging this girl and you're like, oh, I'm about to come, and like you want to keep fucking her, you could just like look and think about how you're actually fucking close.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. Okay. Oh God. Okay, moving on. We're
Does
still on
anyone else,
episode
usually
6.
think of like dead puppies or something like that?
No. I don't think anyone else does that, Kemper.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
I think about Salacious B. Crumb.
Yeah.
That's a valid thought though.
It is a valid thought. How do we feel about Ewoks?
Fucking
Speaking
hate
of-
them.
When I was little, I thought they were. I was like, whatever. What's his name? Nub Nub or no?
No.
Wicket. Wicket.
Nub nub.
Wicket.
For my dick.
Yeah.
No, Num is the pilot.
No, that's Nien Nub.
Oh yeah,
Nien
Nien.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, great gif is him just laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of dug the shit on Endor. I thought that was pretty cool. One thing I do call bullshit on is how the log trap can fucking crush a steel walker fucking mech suit from the future.
Right.
No.
Right.
That
I
shit ain't
also
happening.
like if you want to. I think where they put like the logs beneath it, like fine, I can see that totally. But it was a cool shot to be sure.
It was.
But
It was.
just, no.
And they had to do something to balance it out. They couldn't just keep throwing rocks at the stormtroopers.
And that's the other thing that's fucking stupid because it's like, you know, sometimes when they have armor, the armor matters. But if a little fucking, you know, 3 foot
Teddy
tall
bear
can throw a rock at your head and you die, at least leave the armor because then at least you can see.
See?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice. So, and then leaving the Endor scene, we get to Vader and Luke's epic showdown in front of Palpatine, and it's actually isn't it the first time we see Palpatine in person? Technically, I mean,
In
you see him,
person,
you see a hologram in Empire.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
You don't see him at all in episode 4.
no, you don't.
He's a hologram in episode 5.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yep. And yeah, just like as Joe said before, what makes it his favorite is like the finality of it, the epic conclusion to this amazing trilogy at the time and still to this day. Still one of the coolest lightsaber fights. Like it looks a little janky when you compare it to like nowadays, but it's still really cool.
I mean,
like,
you
the
get
first lightsaber throw, Vader fucking hucks his lightsaber at Luke.
yeah.
Yeah. Vader sees Luke has the high ground. He's like, nope.
No PTSD.
Yeah.
I always imagine the Kill Bill noise.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is not allowed to have high ground on me, never again.
Yeah.
So I would like to point out that this is probably about the age that Palpatine was when he was fucking and having a kid.
Yes.
Potentially.
Palpatine was a sex haver.
I would be inclined to say it was probably one of those dudes dressed in red, one of the Royal Guard. Or one of the ladies dressed in red, because you can't impregnate a man.
Yep. You can try. You
You
can
can
try.
try. Plot twist: they're all women. He has fucking concubines.
Yeah.
That is my new headcanon.
Yep. I'm down with it.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Palpatine definitely has some concubines in there.
Oh yeah,
He's
the
got
dude's an emperor.
He's got some hose on Exegol. Let's be real.
The actual hose.
How
If he
else
can
would he have
spawn-
made so many?
You know,
Yeah.
battleships. I think he can.
Yeah. I think he can conjure up some puss.
Yeah.
Use the Force, Palpatine.
Yeah. So something I want to talk about. So obviously we have the awesome scene. I want to say it's awesome. The Death Star blows up and fucking Lando flies out. That's a great scene with the explosion around him. That's awesome. When it's done and it's over with and they're celebrating on Endor. Brent, what do you think about George Lucas going back and updating the Force Ghost of Anakin to be Hayden Christensen?
I fucking loved that.
You did?
I
Why?
love that. Because I really liked Anakin. Like I don't have a much better reason that I like really liked Anakin from the Clone Wars series that we talked about before, and I at that time I didn't realize how moody and angsty and annoying Anakin was at the time. So yeah, I really liked that, and that was like the point where Anakin was last himself, you know, when he was at that Revenge of the Sith, like right before Palpatine got his claws into him.
Initially, when I saw that, I was actually really pissed about it. But that exact explanation, I think, talked me out of that. Because, you know, again, it's arbitrary anyway. Like, you're fucking dead. You don't have a body. Like, you can come back as 8-year-old Anakin if you want to. But I think
glad they did.
What if?
No, I'm a traditionalist. I need old guy.
You need old.
Dude, I like seeing the old guy though, because you never actually you didn't really see his face that much except for that one scene where he so
Who was he?
Yeah.
Who was he? Like the actor.
I don't know.
It wasn't that Australian guy you were talking about, right?
No, it was not David Prowse. Oh, maybe wouldn't that be funny? That be the fucking dick if they were like, yeah, you're in this suit, but we're gonna get a different guy to be the head of the suit, and the voice.
Lucas must have really not liked him.
Yeah,
Kemper, whatever you're doing, stop doing it.
I can't.
No, I thought it looks like you're doing something under the desk.
What? Oh no, I'm just shaking because I'm so tired.
Go to bed.
It wasn't him. It wasn't.
Oh my god.
That's amazing.
Let's just shit on David Prowse, bro. Like,
it was Sebastian.
Fucking hell.
So it was voiced by James Earl Jones, and his face was Sebastian Shaw, but his disembodied rest of
what the fuck?
Yeah,
that is cold. That is fucking cold.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good point to wrap up on the original trilogy. Wow, what a fucking hell of a fucking dick that move that was. Holy shit. But yeah, we're wrapping up the original trilogy. We will be right back after this commercial break, and we'll finish it up with the sequel trilogy. Stay tuned. All right, we're back, everybody. We're back with the final trilogy, the sequel trilogy.
We all have a Blue Moon beer. We like Blue Moon beer. It's the best beer that you can drink and have. Go buy it.
There is your next commercial. All right, we just took another commercial break. Thank you, Joe. Blue Moon, please sponsor us. That'd be sick. Anyways, we're gonna cap off our Star Wars Day special with the final trilogy. Or it's not even the final trilogy. I guess they just renewed new ones by Rian Johnson, from what I heard.
Wait,
which I'm excited about, and I'll tell you why.
I'll give him a second chance.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I have my doubts.
We'll talk.
Anyways, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the new the Skywalker saga, if you will. And we're gonna start off with Force Awakens. Does anybody have any thoughts, like right out of the gate?
So I want to do a little bit of exposition before we go into this, because as I had mentioned before. So when I initially watched this movie, I was like, this is A New Hope 2. And this is even dumber because we don't even know where the fuck the Empire comes from, right? Like, didn't we just kill them? Isn't that stupid? So this whole trilogy pulls from a lot of stuff. So when Disney came in and bought Star Wars, they were basically like, everything that's not in a movie is a lie. It didn't actually happen now. Semi-fair, because there had been a ton of stuff written and there wasn't like a lot of like guiding it. Anyway, but most of what they did in this sequel trilogy was based off of stuff that happened in what is now considered Star Wars Legends. One of the things that had happened was during the reign of the Empire, Palpatine spent a ton of resources setting up for a potential, essentially what happened in Episode 6, where he gets killed and the Death Star gets blown up, and then eventually, from there on, there was a ton more battles, and eventually the Empire gets destroyed.
Death Star insurance.
Yeah, essentially. essentially, well, eventually that's what it turns into. But he basically went to the Outer Rim and set up like his most trusted people and started setting these things up in the Outer Rim then, and had this kind of like plan in place for like, if I die. I think what was in his head, and it's pretty obvious when you think about it, because like straight up in episode 5, Vader's like, let's go kill him, and then maybe
yeah.
So he had this plan where basically he has all of his most trusted people set up in the Outer Rim. If he dies, then we all get together out over here, and then we form this First Order. The whole time secretly, obviously. So Snoke begins to run it, who we later find out is a clone. This is all part of another what is now Legends storyline where he had a bunch of clones. Way cooler then too, because he convinced Luke to go to the dark side in the other one.
He did.
That's better, which was fucking awesome because it doesn't matter. But so all of this basically comes from shit that people made up already. Even the whole thing of like Ben's, well, it wasn't actually Ben Solo, but one of the kids becoming evil. So all of it was it was Jason in the Legends. All of it was based off of stuff like that. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, again, conceivably, when we go into the final episode and what happens there, it makes maybe a little bit more sense than it does if you just go into it blind. But the reason that the First Order comes up is because apparently he was building it during 4, 5, and 6, and there were plans.
Okay. All right, that's good to know. Yeah, that's good to know for right. Palpatine was a planner among planners.
Yeah,
definitely a plot guy. But yeah, so I actually really liked The Force Awakens when I first watched it. Like I thought it was a justifiable sequel to what I loved the most about Star Wars. I really liked Rey. I really liked Poe. Finn hadn't grown on me just yet, personally, but I didn't dislike him at the time. Like I thought it was cool that there was like a stormtrooper that was defecting.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's kind of like my 2 cents on the characters. I dug the trio, really.
I remember this and Ex Machina came out at the same time, and I'm like, okay, cool. These 2 dudes from Ex Machina are going to be like Han Solo and then another bad guy,
General Hux.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he was in that.
This was the first time I ever saw what's his face.
Oscar Isaac.
John Boyega.
No, I saw John Boyega in Attack the Block.
Attack the Block. Hell yeah.
In this, when I heard that he was cast.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah, Harrison Ford.
Adam Driver.
That's the one it was.
We're all tired.
Yeah. I saw Adam Driver though, and I'm like, this dude's pretty cool. This is a really good bad guy. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, kid. Go ahead.
No. So I remember like a lot of people were just like, could remember the very first time Adam Driver or like Kylo Ren takes off his helmet and just shows his face. People were just like, okay.
Yeah.
I remember getting like a lot of people just like shitting on that. He is just a regular fucking dude.
Yeah.
Like everyone was just expecting some fucking cyborg under the mask, but I'm like, he's just a fucking human being. And like of course we later learn like he's definitely like he's got some conflicting emotions and he's going back and forth. And I think that's what makes him super compelling. But yeah, all in all, I too really like Force Awakens. A lot like that's everyone's gripe is like it's pretty much a copy and paste of New Hope, but it introduces a lot of new things as well as keeping all the old things we know and love about Star Wars. And I think that's why it was so great. It just blended the two so well and gave us kind of a whole new perspective on like a whole new generation of heroes and like people we can follow and be on the ride for.
J.J. Abrams I think did like a good job.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
He was the guy to hire. He was the guy to hire.
He was absolutely the guy to hire after the Star Trek trilogy. Yeah. I really like his Star Trek movies a lot. Like,
Yeah.
and I never thought I would like anything Star Trek related, but I really dug those movies.
Yeah.
And as I was gonna say before I rudely interrupted Kade, Kylo Ren is by far the best character in that trilogy. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even fucking close. Not
He's
even
the
remotely
only
close.
character.
He's the only. He carries that entire series
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yeah.
I interrupted you, Joe. What were you gonna say?
I wasn't actually talking.
No.
Well, if I'm on the spot though, I would have to say I think this sequel trilogy was challenging. I think for people who are our age, who like
Grew up with all that.
yeah. Well, we grew up. I mean, essentially grew up with 6 movies, right? Like I guess I remember when I remember going to the theaters and stuff. But for the most part, like when I was like an actual person, like not just like a child or whatever. 6 movies were out, and so this was like it's I think challenging sometimes when these things like this. I mean, it changed a little bit, and obviously there's some good in that. There's a new generation of Star Wars fans that comes out, so I think it's kind of challenging sometimes. Like just being okay with that, because conceivably there were people who were fucking up in arms when the prequels came out, and you can kind of understand why, because the tone is totally different. And so for people, I don't really take this approach to it, but there are people who are like, fuck the prequels, I'll never watch the prequels, I'm only 4, 5, and 6 and they're Star Wars movies for me. And so I think that was the first time that we kind of got a taste of that. And so when we're talking about some of these things, it's interesting. Maybe it was a good route that they took, which is to say, like, maybe it's better that they copied episode 4 a little bit, just to kind of keep it like a little bit more familiar, which like while they are introducing some of these new things, because it's tough to there were people 1977 this movie came out, and then 40 years later something new is coming out, and so so it's just hard, I think.
Yeah.
You do kind of have to wonder, like, because I'm going to talk about the sequel trilogy just for a little bit, but like like Joe was saying, you do have to wonder where this is going to end up, because the prequels are kind of known, like they're bad, but everyone still loves them. Like,
Right.
a lot of people grew up with them, and
A lot of people our age still love
yeah,
them.
exactly. And like,
Right.
and it's been memed, and it's like it's been through the ringer of all this shit, good and bad, and yet it's still loved to this day, like generally. And then so you have to wonder where this sequel trilogy is going to end up around 10 or 15 years down the road.
Right.
Yeah. You mean like in how it's going to be regarded compared to the other?
Because right now I'd say it's fairly kind of like it's dipped in terms of of cultural relevance.
Yeah.
And so
I think
which is the polar.
Has also-
After Force, sorry, Jake, I didn't mean to.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, like, after Force Awakens came out, like there was a huge explosion of fucking Star Wars. If you guys remember that, like,
Because it was just
massive.
those movies.
yeah,
We didn't get that. Like, it wasn't something that happened every year.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the other, I think, fuck up that they made, was trying to come out with so many of them so fast. Because it was like 3 or 4 years in between all the other movies every time. So
yep.
Yeah. That was kind of a beautiful time, though, when Force Awakens came out. We didn't know where it was going to go.
For sure.
I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that it turned out shitty, even though it kind of did. We still have a lot of road ahead of us in terms of where Star Wars can go, and like with this new trilogy that's
The Mandalorian. That, yeah.
Mandalorian's my main point. Like that shit is fucking pump that shit into me, mainline it into me right now. Like
when we get done talking about 9, I can't believe we haven't talked about this yet, Brent, but I heard a rumor about where this Rian Johnson trilogy is going to go, and I am fucking beyond hype.
Okay. All right.
Let's save that.
That just reinvigorated my interest.
Okay.
So what do we think about like Han Solo's inclusion in this movie? Like, do you think him and Leia's roles were good? Did they feel forced to you guys?
I remember when this came out, a big criticism was it was A New Hope and it was very campy. to nostalgia. And I disagreed with that at the time. And I'm like, no, this is really cool. It's hard to do a new series, all that. And looking back, I'm like, there was a lot, but I still will also watch that. And I'm like, there's some cool looking shots, good sound. Not the best action, but some pretty cool sequences.
I think Leia's character was a lot better in the sequel trilogy because, like, I feel like this idea that she was like the leader and a general and stuff, but you didn't really see her doing a whole lot of that, and so it was cool to see her kind of have like a more active role in things in the sequel.
Technically a less active role and a more like commanding role.
Yeah,
she wasn't going out and shooting people; she was leading people.
Right.
In terms of like going back to if Leia and Han's interaction was forced or whether or not, I think I liked that actually. A lot of people didn't, but I because if you look at Return of the Jedi, it ends all really happy, like Joe was saying. It finalized it all really well, and like it looked like Han and Leia were just going to kind of live happily ever after. But obviously now that we saw Force Awakens, like they didn't. They had a child, but then they went their separate ways. Like that's kind of how life goes. And so, but when you have those kind of two people, you're gonna have that interaction again. It's just whether it's not if, it's when. Right. So I think it was kind of cool to have that interaction be in the next installment, and that just gives a nice little hint of nostalgia when you.
It makes it more real too, that relationship. Like I feel like, again, not to say that like if had they stayed happily married or whatever the whole time, that I would be like, well, that's fucking bullshit or whatever. But I feel like there was like a little bit more of the human element in that relationship, and in like the movies as a whole, with this whole like broken family thing that's like going on as well. I mean, I think again, like Kylo Ren's character is not the same if not for that. And
speaking of which, it was a memorable death to me when like I saw that in theaters.
Yep.
A couple of times. It was like a powerful moment.
Yeah.
God, like I still remember like there was the music and the swelling, and like they had his hand like on his face, and then this music went silent, and then I'm like, no.
I knew it as soon as they were on the catwalk together. I knew what was going to go down. I had a feeling.
Yeah,
I knew it was going down because my friend Snapchatted me at 9 p.m. the night the thing came out. So just
what an asshole!
What a dickhead!
I'm like, okay. Yeah, because I got pulled. I had tickets to go, and then my girlfriend at the time was like, "No, you're coming to do this because you said you wouldn't." I'm like, "This is really stupid, but whatever."
Oh, jeez.
And then I got a nice Snapchat. I'm like, "Oh, I wonder what's up." And he's like, "Han Solo dies." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Thanks. I also. Oh, sorry, kid.
One more thing. If you look as Han Solo's falling off the catwalk, he does this fucking pose before he descends into the mist.
He does.
he literally does this fucking pose. It's really like it's very subtle, but it's super cool. It's so fucking cool. Like it's the outline of it, and then he falls into the mist.
That shit's hard. Sort of on the Han topic. I fucking love the scene where Finn and Rey they're like walking through the junkyard escaping that planet, and then they fucking come across the Millennium Falcon. Like that to me, when I went to the theater to see that, that was a moment where I was like, okay, all right, this shit's hype. I like this. So
it's like what about that ship? It's like that one's junk. And then that one blows up. It's like the junk will do. And like,
the junk will do. And then they run to the and it's the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, dude, that was a moment where I was like, okay, I'm on board. Because I was skeptical at first. I think any longtime Star Wars fan was skeptical at that point. It's a lot easier when you're jumping into the series as a newbie,
Mm-hmm. Now that the sequel is complete, I think I can look back at it a little bit more positively, because I know, like, for me, the whole time in Episode 7, they kept like dropping these little hints about like, oh, here's the Millennium Falcon, and I'm like, okay, that's cool that it's there, but why the fuck is it there? That's fucking dumb.
Yeah.
That's cool that Maz Kanata has his lightsaber, but why? That's fucking dumb.
Right.
And that's cool that Snoke's there. And so I think like initially for me, I went into it with a lot more negativity there, but again, having just watched 8 and 9 again, I think you know,
Yeah.
the Millennium Falcon was cool for sure. Though.
Yeah. That like the Force Awakens definitely has its merits. One of them being Rey. I thought Rey was really well done. The 1/4 portion guy really cemented how good of a person she was. It's a portion.
Yeah.
60 portions.
Yeah.
I'll pay for it.
That's mine.
Yeah.
Simon Pegg.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is. I heart Daisy Ridley though. I think she was an excellent choice. So much heart. Definitely enjoy her.
I hope she finds a way out of
Star Wars.
being typecasted as a Star Wars character, because she does seem pretty cool. But
yeah.
like, I hope she does find her way out of that.
She was in that movie that came out recently, the Tom Holland one with the mines.
It's trash.
Is that movie bad? Is that movie bad?
We were on reshoots, and that shit was terrible.
Oh God, that's great.
What if it just went to a genius editor?
Not even.
That shit went through so many production
They
troubles.
they did a test shoot or test screening, and it was terrible.
Mhm.
And they dumped the $70 million into it again, and it was trash again. And they're like, "Well, we got to release something."
Yikes.
But
Well, anyways.
all right.
But anyway, like back to
Yeah. Back to Star Wars. The final thing I'll say is we get the traitor, and that made me love Kylo that much more.
There's a sick edited version of that on YouTube where he literally screams that for like 30 seconds straight. Like, no need for a breath. He just keeps going, traitor!
I mean, I saw where he screams the hard R.
Oh God. I also really liked how Kylo would like pound his wounds during that final battle. I thought that was really cool. That was very raw. Something a young Sith would do.
What do we think of his what do we
Yeah.
think of his lightsaber?
Cool.
Sick.
Okay. I fucking love his lightsaber. I think it's really freaking cool. And we were talking about kyber crystals earlier. Kemper's not here anymore because he was the one that was curious about it. But the reason that Kylo's is like that, it's unstable, and the reason it needed the 2 crossguard vents was because the crystal that he had was cracked. So he had a cracked kyber crystal, and that was kind of like how they explained it. Really, it was just them wanting to do a cool new lightsaber design, but they had cool in-universe explanations for it. I'm cool with that.
We'll buy it.
Yeah, we'll buy it. But they actually used the crossguards in really cool ways. Like I'm pretty sure that's how. Isn't that how
Finn, right?
Yeah, isn't that how he injured Finn on the spine with his thing? Yeah,
Not on his spine, but like his arm.
yeah.
Like, the spine was like that, like swipe up the back.
Yeah, and then I watched episode 9 earlier today, and he like was using it to like punch and shit and spike people to the ground. I love the lightsaber. To answer your question, Kate, I think it's really sick.
Yeah,
Me too.
Do you guys?
Sorry, Trimmy.
Do you guys remember after this movie all the theories about who Rey's fucking parents were?
Yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like, I specifically remember after this, like, oh my goodness, like everybody was Rey's parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But last thing on his lightsaber, Kate. Does anyone remember the first trailer for Force Awakens that came out?
Yeah.
And the final shot was Kylo walking out, and he goes, flares it up, and then the cross guard comes out, and I'm like, holy shit, dude. Holy shit, that's hype. Yeah, I specifically remember that. So
that was a cool
trailer.
Literally the whole marketing, the whole release, and everything, the whole aura of that movie
went really well.
It went really well. Because that was like Disney's first release of like, here's our version of Star Wars. And I to all of us, like, I'd say we're all pretty pleased. Generally.
I was definitely impressed. As a skeptic, I was impressed. But wrapping up Force Awakens, that's when we get into the divisive film. We get to episode 8. The Last Jedi.
Mhm.
And short story about the Woke and Weird cast. This discussions about this movie is fucking banned from our friend group. Banned. Oh, cold, hard banned.
And
Because
we're releasing it for tonight.
Our opinions are so divisive, and like we were split down, almost down the middle. But yeah, so just a little background. There have been some heated discussions about this movie for good reason. I think. Wouldn't you guys say that's pretty damn fair?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
For very good reasons. So, what do we think of The Last Jedi, guys? Like in general.
I watched it again today. And I gotta say, I do not hate it as much as I initially did. I think, again, I think one of the big things that made me hate it was the way, like, again, and we talked about this before, there was no continuous, like, there was no singular idea of, like, where we are right now with episode 7 and where we want to be with episode 9. And it was super disjointed. And, I watched that movie and I walked out thinking, I'm like, what the fuck are they going to do? Okay, so Snoke's dead, so that means that Ben Solo has to be the enemy, which means that the Skywalkers are all dead, and we're going to have this stupid bullshit thing where anybody's going to call themselves a Skywalker, which is happen a little bit. But I walked out, and I'm like, you can't have 8 movies about the Skywalkers and then kill them all off, or like, so I was super pissed, and I think, again, with that 9th movie, I think it was a little bit better. I think, like, the pacing of the writing could have been a little bit better. That being said, I mean, watching it again, that the bomb, I don't know, and like some things like that bomber scene, that was so dumb, dude. Like, if you just needed one set of bombers, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I try not to pick apart the logic too much in a movie that revolves around like telepathy and
Space combat.
Yeah, and shit like that. So whatever. There were some cool shots in there, but I feel like there were a lot of moments where they would like sacrifice a logical plot line for like the cool shot of the lady laying down while the bombs flew past her. That's a sick shot. But
grabbing it while it's like way down.
Yeah,
that
was cool.
There was a lot of shit like that. It was a cool shot, but I mean, yeah, you did just kill like 40 people with, I don't know, whatever. That could have been more well done. But
the thing with the like hyperspace into
the
thing,
that
fucking cool.
I will say, as much as I hate The Last Jedi, that is one of the sickest fucking scenes in the entire franchise. I won't lie. I will wholeheartedly admit that scene was fucking sick.
I do remember me, Tim, and Jake watched that in theaters, and that shit was cool because we were in a packed house.
It looks awesome. Like
visually, it was amazing.
The silence,
the silence, the sound cuts out, amazing. Chills.
Care about the Star Wars universe, I could see someone watching just The Last Jedi and being like, "That was pretty cool.
That was sick." Yeah, sure. But then you start going, "Why doesn't every ship fucking do that? Why if your ship's going down, why wouldn't you do that?" And then it just Ryan Johnson starts poking holes in
and he was doing a like playing with your expectations thing in this movie, which is fine, but you also gotta like deliver the goods and keep it on track. And I think that he just went up and did his own thing.
Yeah. For sure.
The franchise with no conclusion.
He pulled a Brian Michael Bendis for sure.
That's a
that's a Marvel reference for anyone that doesn't know Marvel comics, not movies. But one of my least favorite things about this movie is how they butchered Luke.
I was gonna say, what do we all think of Luke in The Last?
And when I watched that again, it was probably like 2 or 3 years ago. I think I watched it it was 2 years ago because I watched it with Vicky. But I could see the soul just leaving Luke's eyes, just like fuck, man. And he definitely was not into the direction that it was going, his character and the films. But yeah, I just did not. And it's like I felt so cheated by the end of that movie when like Luke does something that he would be able to do just fine, which is force project. I know a lot of people that don't know like extra lore and stuff wouldn't really understand that, but like seeing him do that and then just fucking die and
They
it just
tried-
disappeared.
Yeah, they tried to retcon it. They tried to retcon it in the movie because there was like one throwaway line where Kylo, like when Kylo and Rey are talking to one another, he's like, "You can't be here. The energy it would take for you to project would kill you."
Yeah,
And so that's their throwaway line of.
yeah, just
But it's such bullshit because in the extended
Yeah.
universe, Luke could literally stand in all that blaster fire and do all of that and be
Mhm.
fine. And so it's
fine.
for what he was built up to be as a character, like it just doesn't seem like a fitting ending.
Yeah,
And I will say again, with episode 9, I feel like they kind of fix it a little bit because now
mitigated it a little bit.
he's
a
the
little
first
bit.
Force ghost that can like interact with the environment.
Yeah,
And so like he's basically a god at that point, right?
yeah.
But and so like okay, but you know, I think you're totally right in saying that they kind of did him a little bit dirty.
What was your, when you guys were first watching this movie, what was your initial reaction at the very beginning when Rey handed him the lightsaber
And he tossed it over his-
tossed it?
I was like,
I chuckled and I went,
Hmm.
oh.
I laughed.
Is that kind of the tone of where this is going? I kind of like the angle that they played at first, that Luke was a broken man. He was very, what's the word I'm looking for?
remorseful.
Yeah, remorseful, like just angsty. Isn't the word I'm really looking for, but it's all I can think of. Like about the Jedi Order, what they did, how they
fine with
We just
operated.
gave up. We just gave up. Like,
But
Yeah.
I don't think that it was like it did justice to all the shit that people have been paying attention to
Right,
for years either.
right.
Like he kind of just trolled all that shit, you know? Oh yeah, all this great scene at the end of The Force Awakens, like fuck that.
Yeah.
Which set the
Yeah.
tone for the rest of the movie. of,
Right,
like,
exactly. That's why I
I want.
I chuckled a little bit, like, huh, that's funny, and then I'm like, wait a minute.
I like
Wait, hold on, where's this movie going? Oh no.
I thought it
and
was really cool. The whole thing when I first watched it, I thought like, oh, this is sick, and it was like there's some really good parts. He's a good director, but
Mhm. he didn't play
it's
ball.
it's frustrating when I'm paying attention and then he just like yeets
Right.
it.
Hmm.
It's like, you know, not only that moment too, but like when I watched it again today, there's a moment on Kade Namoya where, or no, oh my god, what am I trying to think of? The casino place.
Yeah.
There's like this whole theme of like, what is it, Trimmy?
Canto Bite.
Canto Bite, that's what it is. There's this whole theme that they like very briefly touch into about like how everybody's like profiting from the war, and then probably my favorite character in that fucking movie is Codebreaker. Fucking Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro.
Murders it, dude. But he has this part about how like the ship that they steal was from a guy who sold ships to both the Empire and the Rebels, I'm sorry, the First Order and the Resistance. Totally different.
No, they are totally different.
But it's dumb because we never circle back, like we never talk about that. And I think, you know, it's just like why bother? Like that's if you're not gonna like give me something after that, like great, like and okay, so they all in episode 9, but we're still living in a world that's run by corrupt businessmen. Like give me an episode where we murder all the businessmen. Like
that side story with Finn and Rose is what pushed me over the edge to saying I fucking hated this movie.
So
I did not like it at all.
So going back to the Codebreaker, I straight up did not care. Like everything involving the Finn and Rose, and then that also involved the Codebreaker and the whole casino plan. I like the idea of like, you know, having a character that involved like literally just for the profit of war. Like that's all he's for. Like that's fine. But he's shoestringed into this really shitty side story that literally everyone hates, and therefore like no one's gonna give a shit.
Right.
And that's
if they didn't tease you with the whole, you know, and I don't know, I think it would have been fine if Rian Johnson did all 3 of them, and there's elements of, you know, this idea of like this is how the war is impacting people, you know, where they have the shots of how like the horse things and the slaves there. Like I think it's cool to pause for a moment and look at things like that when most of what we're concerned about is like the major players and everything, and like that's great, but But I don't know. I'm kind of fine with the side mission, but I just think there was a lot of like they just tried to make it bigger than it should have been, and
the fact what I hated about it, that side story with Rose and Finn, the fact that it ended up being completely redundant in the end anyways, is what was the worst part. And by the end of that story, the conclusion after the hyperspace really cool scene, and then it went back to them, and it's like, nope, nothing that we did for the past 45 minutes matters. I'm like, what the fuck is this movie doing?
Going back to like Holdo's plan, like her plan was a good one, which is to send all the ship, like I forget what they call them, like the landing boats or whatever, like send all those out while she's like the distraction. That's a good plan. Fucking tell them.
Yeah.
Let's work together, and like maybe there's some way that they can come up with like a better way to do what they were trying, because what Finn and Rose were trying to do is a good plan, but there should have been more coordination there, and everybody was just too dumb and stubborn to talk about it, and it just felt, I don't know, it was just cheap.
Which is kind of good, because it's segueing into my other problem with this movie is Poe. I really like Poe, the character. Like, I fucking love him in Force Awakens. I really like him in Rise of Skywalker. Dig the character. Did not fucking like him in this movie. In Last Jedi. He's whiny. He makes really bad decisions often. Surprisingly often for a guy that's supposed to be.
He straight up ignored Leia with the whole Dreadnought, and he was
and then there was this whole mini subplot where he's undermining the purple-haired lady. You just said her name. I forget what her. Yeah, and like, oh, she's the bad guy. Oh wait, she's not the bad guy. We have to do something. I can't just sit here and sit still. Yeah, and it's just like
again, cheesy subplot.
Yeah, it's all of this culminated into me sitting in the theater going, what am I fucking watching? I loved Force Awakens, and it came to the
and again, I loved this movie actually when I first watched it. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. But then when I thought about, okay, you build up Rey's backstory in the first one, and then nope, it's nothing.
Right.
You reveal in the second one, and then in the third one, it's like, gotcha, Palpatine.
Yeah. Okay. So
Palpatine fucks.
Okay. So kind of transferring from Finn and Rose shitty side quest to the whole Rey shenanigans. So it, like, forgot who mentioned it, but like, who is Rey's parents basically? Like, I loved, because you had that whole scene with like the fucking hole. I don't know what that means, but like she goes in the hole.
It's supposed to be like a Dagobah kind of thing.
Yeah, and I know Joe has something to say, but
Force access.
But so basically she finds out that like she doesn't find out who she is. Like, and it basically like prehints to she basically came from nothing, and so the Force can find literally anybody. And so I actually kind of fucked with that.
Yeah,
like you don't have to be of royal blood to be somebody like in this universe or anywhere. Like I actually really fucking liked that. And then in Rise, we'll talk about that later. But like then they're like, oh, psych, fucking Palpatine. That's why she's powerful. That's why she's got the Force and shit.
It should have been one or the other, and not this.
Yeah, not both. Right.
Yeah.
And Ryan Johnson wanted to gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. Well, no, because I like that. That's actually the decision I liked Ryan was going, like, because J.J. Abrams raised the question, who is Rey's parents? Ryan Johnson said, "Fuck, she's nobody." But the Force chooses whoever. Like, you could have really gone into that super well, and then like I don't know whose fucking decision it was to bring Palpatine back. Some fucking dumbass exec at Disney, probably Kathleen Kennedy. Was like, no, we gotta bring in Palpatine. So like, or like someone of fucking royal blood or whatever the fuck. Like it makes no sense to me. Like, go with one or the other, like Joe was saying.
Right. I think that is a really good point, Kade, that it would have been really cool if Rey was just like from nothing, a scavenger on whatever fucking desert planet she was on, and look at her now. She's, but there are a bunch of children that are Force sensitive, so I wouldn't have had any problem with that at all. No problem at all.
I think the thing that I would say though is if you're gonna do that, and again, eventually they did kind of do it, but Rian Johnson was not going in this direction, but the first 7 movies were about Skywalkers. And again, it's fine if Rey is going to be nobody, but Ben has to be redeemed. And again, I think the thing that pissed me off the most walking out of 8 was essentially, I remember kept saying, I was like, you can't have, because up to that point, it's 7 movies about the Skywalker family. And, we kind of, at the end of 8, you're like, well, it was about the Skywalker family. Now anybody can be a Skywalker family. And then in 9, you're like, actually, all of them were about Skywalkers and Palpatines. And it just seems silly to me. And it just didn't.
The narrative got a little skewed.
The lack of long-term planning.
Right.
Because definitely a pull something out of your ass kind of
right.
excuse.
Or it certainly felt like that, the way that it had to be done.
Sorry, go ahead, Trey.
I was just going to say, as much as he didn't want to do it, I wish J.J. Abrams would have just done all 3. I really do.
So tagging off of that, when they're like, all right, we're going to make a new trilogy. So the first movie was going to go to J.J. Abrams. The second was going to go to Rian Johnson. And then the third was going to go to Colin Trevorrow, who did Jurassic World.
Which we all know and love is one of the best sci-fi.
Yeah, of course. Super good.
But even though he was off Jurassic World, and we all know how we like Jurassic World, that was a set plan. They had a set plan. All 3 were going to work together to create something. But then Colin Trevorrow got kicked right as they were in the post-production of Force Awakens, and so over creative differences. So they were, I'm pretty sure they were kind of at what the fuck do we do now? Because Colin Trevorrow had other plans, and then Rian Johnson wanted to do his own shit, I guess, and then J.J. Abrams was just trying to kick off something cool. So I'm not saying that what they had in mind was gonna fucking work, but their plans got fucked from the beginning. Ever since Colin Trevorrow left, that's when shit started really going downhill, I think, for them.
Yeah. In terms of the connecting the dots, definitely became difficult at that point. Yeah.
Too many dots.
Too many dots.
Yeah.
How Darth
created Snoke.
What'd you guys think of Kylo killing Snoke? That also bothered me. Lots of things in this movie fucking bothered me.
I like
fuck Snoke.
The way he killed him was cool. I'm not denying that. The igniting the lightsaber and then, mere cool CG effects. But the implications of it, the way that it set it up made it seem like Ben was going to be the enemy, and then he was going to be the one that needed to be killed in the last one, and that's what upset me. And I was also going to be upset again. I think 9 kind of helped me enjoy 8 a little bit more. Because the other thing I was pissed about was I walked out of the theater and I was like, he's dead and you're not going to tell me who he is or where he came from or anything about him. Yeah. Yep. That was one of my issues. My gripes.
So kind of they fixed it in 9, but again, I don't know where Rian Johnson was going with that whole Snoke thing because it was just sloppy. Something, I don't know. It was just sloppy the way that it was done. And
I will say the whole scene with the Imperial Guards. That was fucking cool. That was a fight. The whole visual aspect of it was cool. I'll give them that.
It was.
Yeah. That's maybe the sickest lightsaber battle in the franchise. With both of them going after stuff like that. That was fucking sick. Where he's
working together,
shooting the lightsaber across the room and that was sick.
Yeah. It was rad. It was rad. I won't lie. That one of the things I definitely enjoyed.
Easily top 3 for me. I would say.
Yeah, top 3 lightsaber. Actually, my favorite, other than Revenge of the Sith, my favorite lightsaber scene isn't even in any of the movies. It's in Star Wars Rebels. It's an animated series.
I know what you're talking about.
Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, their final bout is fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. It's so good. And it only lasts 10 seconds. What were you saying, Chewie?
I thought you were going to go with Ahsoka versus Vader.
Oh, that's also very good. But no, it's the Obi-Wan and Darth Maul for me. It's so good. Anyways, does anybody have any like final closing thoughts on episode 8?
I want to say what might be a hot take here. I think if you take out so we got to talk about Rose just for a second here.
Yeah, we do have to touch on this. Yep.
Oh, God.
I watched this movie again today, and I come upon the decision: Jar Jar is indeed, by and away, the most annoying character in the franchise. I'm going to give Rose a slight pass here. If you take out, listen to me, and just bear with me here, okay? If you take out the, we save things we love crashes. If you cut that out and you look back at Rose outside of that, yes, she's annoying, and again, we have issues where her whole plotline in 8 sucks. But if you cut that out, I don't think she does not at all deserve the hate that she gets if you cut that out.
Okay. But I'm a Jar Jar apologist. And
because you love Phantom Menace.
I want to say that if you take it as so bad it's good humor, Jar Jar is watchable.
Yeah. If you
want to take her face
He's
value,
that's pretty
yeah.
Jar Jar is consistently annoying and nobody talks about it. Like there's times where like in episode 1 he's just consistently fucking everything up, and nobody's like, get in the get out, go die. Seriously.
go home. Go back to your lake and go home.
He fucks everything up and nobody talks about it. He's borderline racist, and he's just he's just awful. And he's the one who eventually creates the Empire. Mm-hmm. Fucking Rose does none of that. She has one of the dumbest, and it's not her fault, it's the writing. But that is easily, if not the dumbest, easily one of the dumbest moments in Star Wars history. Like I remember when I was an EMT, when I would try and save people, I would first run them over with my ambulance, and then I would be
By the way, she also fucking neutered that scene that Finn had. Like Finn had a really awesome moment. One of the few moments where I'm like, fuck yes, this is great. And then she completely neutered it.
It's funny.
In the end, I'm glad Finn's alive, but like, what the fuck, man?
It's funny because when we watched that movie in theaters, we were like on our way back. I'm like, yo, what if like Rose like went like, because Finn, like you said, had this amazing fucking scene and it was fucking amazing. Rose crashed a fucking speeder into him and just fucking killed Finn anyway.
I don't think it's very clear, and I think maybe if it was more clear, it'd be better. But I think the thought here was that if he did continue on with that, he was just going to die, because you see the ship like falling apart around him, and so like, if the idea is that if he blasts into that and then just dies, that would suck. Right, and the thing nothing happens with the giant gun. That would suck. So I'm on board with the idea of trying to save Finn, but the way that she did it was fucking dumb. If it was more clear that he was 100% going to die and also not do his mission, that's fine. Because essentially at that point, it's the same thing as Poe's decision earlier to go after the. And so again, if that's done better, fine. That's all on Rian Johnson. That's all on poor directing right there. The fact that she decided to save him by fucking crashing into him, like, that's dumb.
So he was going full speed in a straight line, and she somehow caught up with him by going in a complete circle, which is physically fucking impossible.
He was in the laser beam, though. It
slowed him down. It was slowing him down.
His ship is falling apart.
Oh, okay. I vaguely remember that.
This is the confusion here. You know what I mean? And again, the only thing that you really see is like the bottom, like the ski thing that they're on falls off, and like part of the wing falls off. But again, it's none of this stuff is clear. Like maybe if this is from a shot that's like way out, where you can see that he's like 110% totally not going to make it, and you can see the slowing of the speed and stuff. Like I'm okay with the physics of what was happening there. Again, I think that just could have been done better. It could have been done to make it more clear. And
what's the planet's name again that they were on here?
The Red Sand.
That is cool.
Yeah,
beautiful planet.
Yeah, I was literally gonna say that's so goddamn cool when they ride out and have like the fucking things, and it's the red dirt kicking up like a rooster tail, dude. That shit was fucking dope.
When the Millennium Falcon flies into the planet and they're in like the red caves. that's one of the best Millennium Falcon flights around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
cool.
Visually striking,
Mhm.
totally. Like that film as a whole. Yeah,
So-
it's just everything else that I had fucking major gripes with.
I want to say one other thing about the actor. You can say if you disagree with everything I said about Rose, that's fine. But the actress who played Rose, Kelly Marie Tran, had like millions of death threats daily because of,
Yeah, she did not deserve
Yeah.
that. No, not
Neither
even.
did the guy who played Jar Jar. He's just
Yeah,
like
Jar Jar.
Yeah, the guy. That was before social media, and the guy who played Jar Jar, he got. I mean, even without social media, he got tons of shit too. But I think that actress got really hard done by, and I think it's really unfortunate because she's going to go into every other role that she does. And if you look at what she was in Episode 9, there's nothing wrong with Rose in Episode 9.
Yeah,
She
no.
doesn't-
Well, because they took notes, like everyone fucking hated Rose because of age,
Right.
and then they're like, "Yeah, we should probably maybe
But
have
again-
less of her." They pulled a Jar Jar Binks. That's what they did.
Yeah,
Like,
Right.
she didn't
Jar
have
Jar
an, she
became-
didn't she didn't make a decision that fucked over the entire future of the
That Jar Jar did.
Yeah, Jar Jar did. Yeah, but I think that's a good point to wrap up our episode 8 discussion, The Last Jedi. Like I said, divisive. I think
Yeah.
anyone
yeah.
listening
It's
still, if
divisive.
you're still fucking with us, you're a goddamn trooper. And yeah, this shit was divisive,
Yeah,
to say the least.
I was gonna say, don't worry. Before we're done, I'm the only person who likes the movie.
I as a movie,
As a movie.
I generally liked it.
Mhm.
I think it's entertaining. There's some cool moments. Does it fit in with the trilogy? No. Did it fuck up the entire trilogy? Yes. But did I like the movie as a whole? Does it have a beginning, middle, and end? Yeah. I
Yeah.
generally liked it.
Passable. Understood. Have a nice
The
day.
whole movie.
Yep. That's how-
Anywho, all right, we're gonna cap this shit off. Wait, where's Kade going? Anyways, we're gonna cap this shit off with episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Real quick, I watched this movie for the first time today, about
Yesterday, actually.
5 hours ago.
Oh,
What?
I just wish I could have popped your cherry.
You what?
I wish I could have popped your episode 9 cherry.
Oh, like watch it together?
Yeah.
Aw, that would have been cute.
I know.
Miss you.
Miss you.
So, Kade, we've moved on to episode 9. We're in our final transition.
Well, this is gonna be. I want to hear Brent talk about it a little bit because I've seen it 2 or
Yeah.
3 times.
So, first impressions, way fucking better than episode 8. Way better, way more interesting, right?
How
To
do
me.
you think that?
To me. Because
I
episode 8 is just
What I to frame this discussion going forward, I'm going to say that episode 9 is not a good movie, but it's a good Star Wars movie. And I think if you
Yes.
were one of the diehard
Thank you,
Star
Joe.
Wars, if you're one of the diehard Star Wars fans, who the whole time in the back of my head, I was like, what about clones? I kind of like knew about some of these
Yep.
plot lines, so it's not quite as jarring. And so, like, if you know about a lot of that, I think it's
Joe.
okay.
Joe is probably the only person here that understands my perspective when I was watching this movie, and I fucked with that aspect, and the reason I enjoyed it, I could actively see as I was watching the movie, I could see J.J. Abrams trying to fix shit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh shit! Oh my god! What did you do, Ryan? What the fuck was that? Why? I could see it. I could literally see it as the movie went on. And I appreciated the fuck out of that as someone that hated
don't
that
fault
goddamn
J.J.
movie.
Abrams at all. And
I don't fault him either.
No, it's not at all his fault.
It's like you said, Brian. Like as soon as you're watching this movie, you can instantly feel pieces are trying to.
The panic. You can feel the fucking panic. And that movie feels like a sprint. It feels like someone that's sprinting a mile. And I don't necessarily mind that, but they had to cover a shit ton of ground and mend a ton of holes.
Not to mention, Carrie Fisher died during the film.
And Carrie Fisher fucking died. So,
Like a great thing to think about is think of the pacing of The Force Awakens.
Mhm.
It's smooth.
Right.
It's like everything clicks together so well, transitions super well. And then, like you were saying, Rise of Skywalker, it feels like there was so much to fucking pay attention to.
Mhm.
And that's mainly because of
Yeah.
the shit J.J. Abrams had to fix.
Yep.
But like that's just so amazing how you went from Force Awakens, something we all know and love, and then
Now
like-
we're fucking here. And this atom bomb of
started from the
information.
top, now we're at the fucking bottom.
I remember in like 2016 when we first met each other at Full Sail, when The Force Awakens came out. I'm like, yeah, the Knights of Ren could be some cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then it's
Yeah.
just like dudes with like axes that are like,
Yeah. Not only that, but they don't come
Please
up.
don't shoot me.
Why were they not in episode 7 or 8?
Yeah, I don't know. You only see him in the flashback of episode
Right.
8, or no, 7. No,
Or-
you see him in the flashback of 7, and then I don't even think they were in 8. I don't think so.
No.
They could have been, but I don't think so. But their weapons were really cool. They looked really cool aesthetically. Like, I don't know what their deal was. They didn't explain them at all. Like, did Kylo train them? Why were they called the Knights of Ren? I don't understand. One guy had a big ass butcher sword looking thing, and it was really cool. And then he fucking died, and that was the end of them. Yeah. Some more thoughts on this movie as I fucking just watched it.
This is actually the movie I'm probably least familiar with, and I know this is the most recent one that came out. I've only watched it once, and that was in
Yeah.
theaters. And then every other Star Wars movie I've seen at least like 4 times. So, I'm trying to remember. Like, this movie was just like we were saying. It's so fucking scatterbrained. Like it's so forgettable. Like there's so many forgettable parts where the entire thing becomes forgettable.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just
But one thing I think they did really well was they solidified the trio. Rey, Finn, Poe, and
Yeah.
they
they
did
made
go on
them
a nice
really
little
tight.
adventure club.
They went on.
The-
They're a tight knit group now, and like that is some good shit. I enjoyed every scene they were when they were together as a trio.
I would watch 9 more movies of them being a trio together. That was
Mhm.
excellent. That's-
The part when they went to Coachella was pretty cool.
yeah,
That
it was. That actually was. That was
yeah,
actually.
that feels like Star Wars, like
Yeah.
really exotic locales with
And then they
crazy
met
shit
up with
going.
they met
Yeah.
up with Lando. Like that was kind
Yeah,
of cool.
that was really cool. Like
The
Yeah.
Jedi plot, like that was really cool.
Yeah.
The whole idea of like we're trying to find.
the Sith holocron, I liked that. I liked how the ancient Sith structures were in play, like all these fucking really cool archaic stone pyramids and structures and
The
like
dagger.
the dagger, just a lot of things as a Star Wars fan that I really fucking enjoyed compared to whatever the hell Last Jedi was, whatever the hell that was. I get fucking whiplash when I think about that movie. I really do. From the hyperdrive explosion.
Yeah. Hyperdrive skipping, sick. Where
Yeah,
he's, like,
that was really cool. That was really
yeah.
cool. That was very cool. And one of them was like Bespin. I couldn't reckon. I feel like there was another location
There was,
that was a
there was,
callback,
like,
but most of them were like new.
Yeah.
There was like Bespin and then another one, and then there was like this rocky one. There was like a green graveyard looking one. There was like a red cool thing. I really liked the opening of the movie with Kylo fucking raining hellfire on whatever that poor community of people was, and then finding the Sith holocron, and then like his journey to the fucking what's the planet called again?
Exegol.
Exegol. Yeah,
Where the baby's at?
yeah. And then I'm surprised that they revealed Palpatine that soon. I guess people knew at this
They had
point
to.
anyways.
They fucking
Yeah,
had to.
they literally had
There's
to.
no
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah, but I could sense the panic while I was watching the movie, but I enjoyed it more than Last Jedi. That's really all I have to say about it. Like, and I remember when we were talking about this a while back, like years ago. You guys probably remember me saying this, but I think Solo is a way better Star Wars movie than Episode 8, and I would probably argue it might even be better than Episode 9. Because it feels like that, it has that vibe. It has that Star Wars feel for someone like me that grew up with that shit heavily in their mind every day, all day. So yes.
So when this happened, when they revealed Rey was a Palpatine descendant, I'm like, okay, that was like, because I kind of like Kade. I thought that was a cool story for the second one, but now it's like, all right, now it's a Palpatine.
Mhm.
And then I started thinking back to like all of the shit that Rey's done, and I'm like, she's really not that good of a protagonist of what they make her do in any of the movies. She never takes any real damage. Like Luke, Anakin lose a hand, something. She never really like even gets phased, and then just gets these broken powers and can like force lightning a fucking ship.
That was sick.
With Chewie on it.
Yeah,
I think her main.
I thought they
think her
yeeted Chewie for a second.
me too.
I think her main growth was like because she was basically never gonna leave Jakku
Mm-hmm.
because like she just had a lot of like emotional issues and like and that sounds pussy compared to like fucking Luke's aunt and uncle dying and then him having to go on this huge journey. But like Rey definitely had like had some motive to her character. Like there was some shit that made you feel for her. But I do agree they definitely could have made her take more damage, and then how she recovers from that damage is how her character is revealed. And I think I do agree with that, Jake.
Like, how did she grow throughout all this, aside from learning about where she's from?
Well, she took the hero's journey.
She took
From how? Like, but she just found out shit, and like some fights, but I
mean,
know. I just feel like it really wasn't that rewarding.
She was basically trick-or-treating through everything. It wasn't like...
Think back to episode 7, though. Like, in episode 7, it took a while for her to even be okay with not going back to Jakku eventually.
Yeah.
Right?
That one felt...
There was some growth. There was some growth there.
So there was her like emotionally like letting go of her parents, which is, I mean, that's pretty huge. I mean, like that's her whole character's goal the whole time is to like find that family or whatever. She doesn't have it. She lived by herself in the head of an AT-AT in the desert, and so like her whole character's motivation is to find that. And so like, you know, I think her growth is she goes out. She gets dragged into this adventure where she's looking for her parents, and she finds her family in a group of her friends, and eventually in Lucan Land. So I think it's definitely it's not as like stark as what some of the other growths have been, and certainly juxtaposed to fucking Kylo Ren. Like it's you know.
Kylo
Ren is a fun character.
I feel like I feel like Kylo is the protagonist of this trilogy. Am I alone in thinking that?
You're not.
Yeah, no. I feel like their main focus was like, okay, we can have this like cool, like empowering like woman, like have her own issues or whatever, but the real fucking show everyone's gonna be looking at is whether or not Kylo is gonna change.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I fucking love Kylo.
Can we just talk about why they needed to do a kissing scene? That whole fucking thing with Kylo and Rey.
I'm more annoyed about. I don't think the kiss was random because there was some.
There was connection. There's connection.
But the whole scene at the end where
it just felt weird to me.
He gets yeeted off a cliff and then comes back and then he's dead and then he revives her and like.
And then he dies and
that was dumb. I didn't like that. The kiss I'm fine with, but
Rey and Finn had more of a connection in the beginning than.
For sure.
In the beginning, absolutely, yeah. And here and again because again in the beginning, and again from what you see in episode, I guess the first maybe half of episode 8, you are led to believe that it's going to be a Rey and Finn thing. I think again, you know, for me, I think it's totally fair to be connected with someone in the Force and stuff. I could totally tell that the tension was there, and I don't think it was as forced. I think it definitely makes it more confusing as you start out with the expectation that it's going to be Finn. So
yeah,
I think that fuck, what was I gonna say? I think the reason why Rey and Kylo were kind of becoming a thing is because Rey was seeing Kylo's like weakness, and that's like him not being fully committed. And so like she was trying, like, so she was kind of on that journey of trying to turn him, and like he was kind of down for it too. So I think that was like kind of a journey they were taking together with like the connect. I don't know what you call it.
No, for sure. You know, like he knew that she was like kind of longing for that belonging, and I think to some extent, you know, he killed his parent. You know, he killed his dad, and you know, he's trying to figure all this stuff out. And to some extent, obviously, it's not the same thing, but to some extent, I think he wanted that belonging too. And so I think for him, it was also an intrinsic, like, I want to give you that belonging. And
yeah.
You know.
So I bought that with the kiss. The thing that kind of bothered me was, like, you either, I think this is what they could have gone two ways. Either have him live and then have, like, him and Rey, like, you know, not live happily ever after. I'm not asking for that, but, like, have them together. Or just have Kylo die and then, like, not have a kiss at all.
Right.
I feel like to just have a kiss and then have him die, that's just a little too...
I think it would have been more impactful to just keep Rey dead. I think that would have been...
Well, does Rey have the ability to spawn giant destroyers from the ground like Palpatine? does her powers have that? Because that's a big...
That would be pretty sick.
Power move.
Joe,
I didn't know that was in the Force.
Force Storm.
How did you fucking know that? We are fucking drift compatible, dude. Was that Force Storm?
That was so obviously it's altered a little bit because the OG Force Storm is the creation.
It's like a wormhole. It's you open space, right?
To be honest, I feel like that's like
that was their rendition of
target the Resistance ships.
Yeah.
Sucking all the ships out. That was fucking sick.
I was hyped when I saw that. By the way, guys, that's like an extended universe thing, like Force Storm. It's something Palpatine could do, and it's really fucking OP and awesome. Yeah.
So the extended, just very briefly, the extended universe story after Episode 6 is there's another Death Star that comes up. Luke goes to that Death Star, kicks the shit out of a Palpatine, but then realizes that there's like 8 more clones of him. And then while he's in like this Death Star, like whatever area, he's looking outside, and Palpatine does this thing called Force Storm, where he basically opens up a black hole with the Force and murders like, I mean,
so many people.
He murders like billions of people, and he's like, I'm going to keep doing this unless you join the dark side. And then Luke actually joins the dark side for a little while.
Hot minute. But that I feel like that was their rendition of the Force Storm, which is why me and Joe just geeked out a minute ago over how sick that was to see. Because we talked about that in a movie for fucking years while we were kids and in high school and shit growing up. Like, how sick would that be to have that in a movie with like modern CG and shit? And that was their equivalent. It wasn't a black hole, but it was a pretty powerful equivalent, like just a fucking lightning storm in the sky that.
Cooler than a black hole, because it's, I mean, I feel like in terms of like area, it was just as big, but he was, like I said, he was like targeting.
Yeah. Very cool. Very, very cool to see. Yeah. We also, for Last Jedi, we also forgot to talk about the Leia scene when she fucking survived space like goddamn Superman.
I'm okay with that.
No, don't be okay with that, Joe. Shut the fuck up.
What's her last name? What's her last name?
Skywalker, but Luke can't survive in the vacuum of space.
Yes, he can.
No, we can't.
Sure he can.
I call bullshit.
Tell us, Joe.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. We talked about already on Mustafar. They're literally standing in an active volcano, and they're okay. You know what I mean? With the Force, you have the ability to withstand things like this. Okay, Leia is one of, again, Luke is literally, I mean, in the extended universe, and to some extent, from what we've been told, within even the Disney universe, which they nerfed the fuck out of him, Luke is the most powerful being, other than Abeloth. He's the most powerful being in that universe. And you're going to tell me that his actual twin doesn't have any powers at all?
Right.
I'm not saying that she doesn't.
She doesn't have the control over them, certainly. But you have to. I think the thing that these movies could have done a little bit better. I think it's good that Leia got to step up and take more of an actual leadership role. She is every bit as powerful in the Force, if not more powerful in the Force itself, than Luke. And so if Luke can levitate and do that, it's totally within the realm of possibility that she has these, again, not polished but innate abilities that she can do things like that. I get
just
it.
yeet out of space.
If you want to talk about yeeting in and out of space, then let's talk about why lightsabers don't go towards infinity.
I can only give you so many Deus Ex Machina credit, like before I say no.
I don't know. I think it's fine.
In the context of the lore, I suppose that's
In the context
an
of
argument.
the lore,
But anyways,
makes perfect sense.
either way, we're not talking about Last Jedi anymore. We're talking about Rise of Skywalker. So sorry to go on that little tangent again.
Very divisive.
Very divisive. Like we said, this movie is. Anyways, so any final thoughts?
Oh, what's his fucking name? I wrote his name down. The fucking engineer guy might
The
be
little tiny. Yeah.
Babu! That guy is the
That
fucking
guy-
hits. He needs
that
way
guy-
more fucking screen time. That guy.
Yeah.
That guy was
That guy?
The little
Who's,
tiny guy.
a
The
little
little
tiny
droid
guy.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With oh, that guy was awesome.
Speaking of him, what did you guys think of C-3PO's sacrifice? I was kind of, I was kind of bummed that they just kind of fixed him. Like
Yeah,
R2
they
just
did.
kind of fixed him.
They did 2 fake deaths with the movie, like C-3PO
Yeah,
and
and Chewie.
gets back, and Chewie dies.
Yeah.
And then Finn got psyched too.
Right.
in Last
Yeah.
Jedi.
I will, the scene where he stops and turns around, he's like, "I'm taking."
Yeah.
That was powerful as fuck.
Yeah, that's
hit me.
C-3PO. That's C-3PO. Like that's a huge deal that he sacrificed himself for that, and like it was cool in context of like the Sith.
Also,
He can't read it so well, like so it made sense within the confines of the story, and like I was really torn by that. And then R2 was just like, I'm fixed.
I also
There
want
you
No,
go.
no.
That's checked.
Disney went, fixed.
Disney did.
Toys.
Disney did. You're not wrong.
I also want to
Toys.
say fucking props to Anthony Daniels for fucking laying it down in that goddamn C-3PO suit for over 40 years.
Yeah, dude. What a fucking champion.
Great.
That shit must be so goddamn uncomfortable.
Well,
I can't even fucking imagine. your
R2-D2
arms.
and C-3PO. Those are the only characters that have been in every single Star Wars movie or original Star Wars movie.
Chewbacca too, right?
No, Chewbacca wasn't in the.
Oh, he wasn't in the prequels. That's right. That's right.
He was in episode.
He was
3.
only in episode 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
We never talked about the Kashyyyk scene either.
Mm.
We missed some.
That's what I'm telling you. You got to do a part 2 of this and go back and talk about other
We could do a
things.
part 2. This is a fucking doozy.
Final
Yeah.
What's up?
thoughts. It's the last trilogy did not feel Star Wars to me.
Yeah, I agree. Especially watching the third one, I'm like, yeah, this show's like no direction for me. I just gave up on caring about that universe.
Every other Star Wars movie felt like Star Wars. Just this trilogy did not.
Yeah.
It did the
Four-
sequel trilogy did feel like Star Wars to me at times, but just like in certain moments.
I think it did a good job of like opening up new worlds and stuff.
Sure,
And
but
I think, you know,
The Mandalorian made me realize that. I'm just like,
Yeah.
no.
and so I'm. Go ahead,
Sorry, go
Kade.
ahead.
No, you go.
I was really just gonna say, like, I like the sequel trilogy to an extent. Like, of course, there was definitely like some production issues and like story issues and so many fucking holes, but like it's something I can always look back on. Like, I could watch Force Awakens. I'll be like, I can watch the next two. Like, I'll fuck with it. But like, I'm always gonna kind of rag, their plan,
Right.
Yeah.
or where it went. So
Force Awakens felt like Star Wars to me.
yes,
Yeah.
It did.
That's
It had that
acceptable,
vibe, but Last Jedi did
Eight went
not.
off the rails, and 9 just could not quite get it back.
Right. That's
Yeah.
that's how I see it too. But
Yeah. I
I will say 9 was a noble attempt.
yeah,
Noble fucking attempt to try and piece that
especially
shit
for like
together.
the diehard Star Wars.
Yeah,
people.
and the fact that it came together and
Yeah.
like that, and a lot of people would disagree, but
One of my favorite things was I was actually pretty excited for 9 because I didn't like Trevor, and I'm like, well, J.J. Abrams might do something good. And I was watching a press release, and you could tell that J.J. Abrams did not like Ryan Johnson.
mm-hmm.
when he was answering all these questions about
JJ said he's not doing any more Star Wars for the rest of his life.
Oh yeah, I would hope
I'm not surprised.
he's earned a break.
Yeah. But Trimmy, well, what's your general thoughts on Rise and I guess the sequel trilogy as a whole?
Rise was okay at best. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that made absolutely no sense in it, but hey, he was trying to fix what 8 did instead of, just going with 8 and making his life a bit easier, but more power to him. He's allowed to do that. Rey's lightsaber is cool. I think that's something I really liked. Her lightsaber was
Her
cool.
yellow lightsaber.
Yeah, and the way it turned on, it kind of...
The flicking switch, yeah.
Let's see what else about 9. All the ships showing up at the end was really nice.
That was cool.
But
That was cool.
Great.
And showing all the resistance across the galaxy with all the First Order Star Destroyers getting destroyed. That was really nice too to see that. It was like a Return of the Jedi vibe.
Like in Episode 8, they wouldn't show up when they're like, "Hey, come help us! Like, we just need some of you to come out and show up," and nobody did. And then 6 hours, Lando's like, "Guys, let's party," and the entire galaxy.
Let's fucking boogie. Ooh. Lando Calrissian, let's go!
Yo, it's Lando, let's go.
So before we close out, what were you gonna say about Rian Johnson's trilogy?
Yes, I'm very interested.
So I know say what you will. I think we could all agree that the best Star Wars movie was not a Rian Johnson movie. But all that being said, the rumor going out right now is that this new Star Wars franchise is going to be set in the Old Republic, which is the
what?
It's now I'm gonna pump the brakes a smidgen here because it's the Disney version of the New Republic, but it's the New Republic. It's something, but it's it's like 400 years before the events of Episode 1, and so the reason this is cool, guys, is because this was in a time where the rule of 2 was not a thing, so there could be more than one Sith at a time. So you have giant fucking 1,000 Jedi Sith battles going off against each other. You don't have this kind of again, for better or worse, you're kind of chained to the Skywalker narrative or Palpatine narrative. You don't have any of that because none of them fucking existed. So you can just do whatever you want. You can tell whatever kinds of stories you want.
Yeah, that's huge.
The Mandalorians are cool again because they're to be honest, they nerfed the shit out of the Mandalorians in the Mandalorian. Hopefully they're gonna be cool again. They're starting a book series. It's technically called the High Republic area. They started a book series about it, and I haven't read any of the books about it, but it seems to look at the art that they have for it, it seems really fucking cool. And again, I think the big issue that I think we could all agree on here, right or wrong, one way or another, this would have been better if it was one person doing all three.
Yeah.
No matter what out of any of them. So if it's just Rian Johnson doing a story in which there are no there's no strings attached to it, he doesn't have limitations as far as story, he can just do whatever he wants. And so if he can just make up his own characters in this time, it's literally the easiest time to write a story.
That sounds excellent. First off,
I always said that if there's a parallel universe where Rian Johnson made a side movie instead of The Last Jedi, it could be my favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I mean, because we all love Rian Johnson. Besides Last Jedi, he made Looper, fucking Knives Out. He's gonna do 2 more Knives Outs apparently. But
this is
I am beyond hyped for this. I think we're still a couple years away from even having any release dates or any official confirmation. But again, they just started this whole thing with the High Republic. I would be shocked if they were going to do anything other than that.
That sounds excellent. That really does. Give me some Knights of the Old Republic vibes. Hell, fucking yeah.
Yeah. If any of you guys don't know anything about Knights of the Old, even if you just look up the 2011 or whatever it was, MMO game, look up the opening cinematic for that. It's beyond.
Yeah.
And
one of the coolest Sith scenes ever.
Yeah.
One of the coolest Sith scenes ever.
Yeah.
So I think we've done a great job of covering this fucking monstrosity of a topic. Don't you guys agree?
Dude.
Holy
Yeah.
shit. What a doozy. This is by far our longest episode. By
at least double.
yeah, triple, I would even say.
Yeah.
We can see doing wardrobes, I guess, in that follow-up episode.
The Naboo wardrobe scene. yeah. Stay tuned for Star Wars special episode 2, everyone. Yeah.
But hey, guys, we forgot. We got to talk about Rogue One and then Solo.
No.
And then
Can be for episode
Mandalorian.
2.
Right
and
now.
Star Wars Clone Wars, and Star Wars Clone Wars, and Star Wars Clone Wars.
One thing,
Star Wars Rebels.
yeah. One thing I will say, let's have me, because I think I'm the only one that hasn't finished it yet. Let's have me finish The Mandalorian, and we'll fucking get. I know. I'm busy. I'm a fucking busy man.
Make time, buddy. Dude, have you seen the first
I know.
season?
I haven't seen any of it.
Okay.
I haven't even watched the first
The first season is fine. The second season makes it worth it.
I know. I need to. Anyways, the point is, Joe. The point is, I'm gonna finish that show, and we're gonna have Joe on again, and we're gonna hash it out. We're gonna talk about Rogue One. We're gonna talk about Solo. We're gonna talk about Clone Wars. We're gonna talk about The Mandalorian to cap it all off. How do you guys feel about this?
Yeah, you can get on that.
I'll keep it going.
To be honest, if you guys don't want to do it, me and Brent can just get on Discord and just record ourselves.
I'll put it on the YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll fucking do that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to take a commercial break, and then when we come back, we will do our sign-offs and thank Joe for giving us all of his time on this show. And yeah, see you soon.
Dope.
Let's do this. I need to poop and go to bed.
All right.
Buy cum from Joe's Cum Shack. Come on down to Joe's Cum Shack and Cum Emporium. You can get all the cum you want. Come on down.
Hold on.
You can get
Hold on.
You can get a sack full of cum. You can get
Shut up, Joe.
You can get a dumpster full of cum. You can get it all. Come on down to Joe's Cum Shack Emporium. 1-800-CUM-JOES. Buy my cum.
Joe's cum. I didn't just say Joe's cum.
Joe's Cum Shack.
Jeremy, are you still with us?
Unfortunately.
Oh, man.
The swamp ass is astronomical right now. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm sweating my ass off.
Ready?
Ready? And we're back. Thank you. If you guys made it through all of this, we fucking love you. If you made it through
I'm surprised.
start to finish from here, yes. We have been Woken Weird. Follow us on all the socials. I have been your host, Goonie. You can follow me on Twitter at GoonieBags with a Z and an underscore. Follow my esports org. If you've listened to all this, you probably know all this by now. I'm going to pass it off to Jake.
Follow me at DJ Pop Daddy Downs. I don't like the sequel trilogy. If you like the sequel trilogy, go follow one of these other guys. Tweet all of their posts.
All right, Kade, where can we find y'all?
You can follow me at CadeRunner2049 on Instagram and Twitter. And if you like the sequel trilogy, come on down. We'll have a discussion, and I'd be very interested to hear your takes. Or if you're just a bitch or pussy, like Jake won't follow you back, but I will. So
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
A noble cause indeed.
Yeah.
All right, Tim, where can we follow you, bud?
You can follow me on Instagram at TimboSlicePro.
He's got some good stuff. Check him out. Trimmy, where can we follow you, bud?
You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Austin Trimnell. If you want to slander episode 2 with me, join in and we'll just fucking trash it.
Hell yeah.
We'll drag it through the dirt. My cat's name is Midnight, just so
Thank
you know.
you. You beat me to it every time now. All right, Joe. We wholeheartedly love you and appreciate you coming on and spending this much fucking time with us online talking about Star Wars. And I know how busy of a man you are. So where can we follow you?
Well, I just want to say I think that Obi-Wan Kenobi's beard is 2 shades too dark in episode 3. If you'd like to hear my dissertation about this, I have an hour-and-a-half long one that I'll be posting on my Instagram. It's at JosephTK11. So go ahead and find me there. I don't really care who you are or what you think. Social media, just a mental construct or whatever or something. So here we are, aren't we?
Hello there. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We had a lot of fun with this one. We've been looking forward to this one a lot over the past few months, and even longer than that for Joe too. So thank you. Appreciate you all. Love you all. Peace.
Toodles.